ครับก็สวัสดีนะฮะทุกคนที่เข้ามารับชมคลิปนี้นะฮะก็วันนี้มาอยู่กับผมอีกแล้วนะฮะก็ว่างก็มาดูหน่อยผมว่าจะลงคลิปละช่วงนี้ปิดเทอมนะแต่ว่าก็เข้าใจความขี้เกียจของมนุษย์นะฮะมันเกิดขึ้นปกติขี้เกียจลงขี้เกียจหัดอะไรปล่อยมันไว้อย่างนั้นนะครับวันนี้จะมาทำการเล่นเกมนะครับ Dragon Village นะครับเป็นเกมแนวบริหารบ้านเมืองนะน่าจะ strategy มั้งถ้าผมจำไม่ผิดหรือเปล่านะเป็นใน Windows นะครับซึ่งตอนนี้ผมก็ไม่รู้ว่าเสียงมันดังไหมนะหรือว่ามันเบาก็ต้องขออภัยนะหมายถึงว่าเสียงผมเนี่ยดังหรือว่าเบาก็ไม่รู้นะถ้ามีเสียงรบกวนบ้างก็ต้องขออภัยนะแต่ว่าเดี๋ยวก่อนนะครับโอเคคราวนี้ก็มาเริ่มกันเลยนะครับก็ต้องไปติดตั้งก่อนนะครับ
Desktop Recycle bin 1 User File Explorer Desktop column Samsung of Documents column Document Downloads column Earlier this year grouping expanded today grouping expanded Install Dragon Village .txt list item focus selected
Install Dragon Village นะครับ
Window dialog Downloads File Explorer Setup Dragon Village dialog This program is freeware and is the intellectual property of Martin Blythe Aqua Rocky Waters No alteration Claim of ownership or sale is permitted You are allowed one copy free for personal use without warranty without liability Please download and enjoy You can make me happy and I do not accept the agreement radio plans to continue Click next to continue Click next if you would Select the create and desktop not checked Install button not plus Next greater Cancel button 3% 13% 23% 33% 44% 54% Launch Dragon Village checkbox not checked Finish button not plus Press Downloads File Explorer Desktop list Use
โอเคเดี๋ยวเราไปเปิดกันเลย
Recycle Dragon Village Dreamland Dragon Village
Loading Rocky's Dragon Village
ถึงแล้วมันไม่ได้เล่นนะ
Landscape
ร้อยนะ
Welcome to Dragon Village Press any key to continue
แล้วก็ยินดีต้อนรับเข้าสู่ Dragon Village หมู่บ้านมังกรนะครับกดปุ่มอะไรก็ได้เพื่อไปถัดไปนะ
Start doing modding API 50 of 50
ปิดอันนะ
Recycle bin of Samsung Rocky's Dragon Village column Samsung of You are the leader of a small settlement called Dragon Village
คุณคือเจ้าของหมู่บ้านเล็ก
You have around 100 villagers but many demands on their time
ๆคุณตอนแรกมีแค่100
Your task is to grow and prosper
อะไรทุกอย่างอะไรโกโก้ไม่รู้นะ
You will have to watch the weather and plan for floods You will have to defend against wealth tax and gangs of outlaws You can make goods in the village and sell them at market You can win favor with the king or earn respect from the gods You can send villagers on journeys or take a quest from the village witch The brave may even choose to visit the dragon The choice is yours Press any key to begin your journey
โอเคกดปุ่มอะไรก็ได้เพื่อเริ่มการเริ่มผจญภัยนะ
Main menu Play the game
อันนี้ก็มีคีย์หน้าไม่กี่คีย์หรอกมี
Play the game Save your game and exit the program Play the game
ซ้ายขวา A
Play the game
D F J K L เซมิโคลอน
Play the game
หรือว่าปุ่ม Home N
Menu sounds courtesy of which wand up Abandon current Play the game Save your game and exit the program Oracle gets its instrument out for the menu sounds Oracle gets its instrument out for the menu sounds
เสียง2เสียงนะก็คือนี้
Oracle gets its instrument out for the menu sounds
เวลาเลื่อนก็จะเป็น
Play the game Abandon View the instructions
แต่ว่าถ้ากด Home ไปจะเป็นเสียงนี้
Menu sounds courtesy of which wand up
เสียงนี้
Abandon current Play the game Save your game and exit Read the history of Dragon Village
นี่แหละผมชอบเสียงนี้มากกว่า
Oracle gets its instrument out for the menu sounds courtesy of
โอเค
Change the read the history Save your game and exit the program Play the game
ปุ่มแรกก็คือ Play the game นะครับอันนี้ก็ไว้เล่นเริ่มเล่นเกม
Abandon current game and restart from day
อันนี้ก็คือทิ้งเกมที่เราเล่นมาทั้งหมดแล้วก็เริ่มมันใหม่นะ
View the instructions
นี่คือ view the instruction ก็คือดูอะไรอย่างที่เราดู
Program instructions Instructions for Rocky's Dragon Village Version Release date October 2018 Intro You are the leader of a small settlement called Dragon Village The game genre is a mix between strategy, RPG, and adventure There is a storyline but it's up to you to take charge You have to manage your village resources, solve puzzles and complete quests Should you send travelers to Hungry Village or visit the king? Depending on your choices, your mission Should you decide
อันนี้ก็สามารถอ่านได้นะผมวางลิงก์เว็บดาวน์โหลดไว้ให้นะ
Defeat the outlaws Song up, down, left and right arrows will get song Active hotkeys on the map
อันนี้คือ active key
Up, down, left and right arrows will get you around The enter key will let you add workers to any location
enter ก็คือการวางคนในตำแหน่งนั้นนะครับ
The E key ends the game day and brings forth the event list for that day
E คือการจับวันนี้
The X key will zero workers for all locations if the player wishes
เพื่อในทำให้จุดนั้นศูนย์คน
The tab key will cycle around locations with workers
แท็บก็คือไปสถานที่ต่างๆที่เรา work ก็คือทำงานอยู่นะก็คือมีคนทำงาน
The backspace key will zero workers at the current location The X key will zero workers for all locations if the player wishes
ปุ่ม X ก็คือเอาไว้ให้คนกลับมาจากการทำงานนะครับส่วนปุ่มลบก็คือให้จากจุดที่เราอยู่เช่นถ้าเราอยู่จุด A1 กดปุ่ม backspace ได้ในการเอาคนออก
The tab key will cycle around locations with the backspace information hotkeys on the map The A key tells you the activity and location
A เอาไว้ดูนะครับเอาไว้อ่านรายละเอียดของแมป
The C key tells you the current workers at a location.
C เอาไว้ดูคนที่ทำงานอยู่แล้ว
The V key gives the total number of villagers and how many are working.
V กำลังก็ดูคนในหมู่บ้านแล้วก็คนที่กำลังทำงานอยู่
W gives you the latest weather forecast.
W
The W gives you the latest weather forecast. W ให้พยากรณ์อากาศล่าสุดแก่คุณ
ให้พยากรณ์ล่าสุดนะก็คือวันนี้นะวันนี้
F tells you how much food and grain you have.
F ก็เอาไว้ดูข้าวกับผลไม้ที่เรามี
G tells you how much gold and goods you have.
G ก็เป็นของที่เราขายแล้วก็โกลที่เรามีตอนนี้
J tells you how many gem or ruby jewels you have.
J ก็เป็นพวกgems นะครับ ruby ที่เรามี
S tells you the amount of stone blocks and oak lumber you have.
S ก็เอาไว้ดูไม้กับหินที่เรามี
L gives you the lookout report for impending attacks.
L ก็เป็นเอาไว้ดู
B gives you the best guess at outlaw and wolf number. L gives you the lookout report for impending attacks.
ผู้ก่อการร้ายนะครับที่จะมาตีบ้านเราในวันไหนคืนนี้เปล่า
L B gives you the best guess at outlaw and wolf numbers.
B ก็เหมือนกันแต่เป็นหมานะครับเอาไว้ดูหมานะครับให้มาตีกี่ตัว
R gives you a status report of all things importained.
ก็เอาไว้ดูอะไรเนี่ย
R ให้รายงานสถานะของทุกสิ่งที่สำคัญแก่คุณ
ก็สำคัญนะฮะที่สำคัญก็เห็นมันบอกนะ
P brings up the previous days to the list.
P ก็เอาไว้ดูวัน
P brings up the previous days to the list.
อีเวนต์วันก่อนหน้า
P แสดงรายการกิจกรรมของวันก่อนหน้า O brings up the ongoing story.
O ก็เอาไว้ดู
O นำเสนอเรื่องราวที่กำลังดำเนินอยู่
แบบสมมติว่าเราทำอะไรไปบ้างอะไรเงี้ยมั้ง
D gives you the days of your leadership in Dragon Village.
D อะไรเนี่ย
D มอบวันแห่งการเป็นผู้นำของคุณใน Dragon Village.
D ผมก็ไม่รู้เหมือนกันนะ
Q gives you your active quest.
Q ก็เอาไว้ดู quest นะฮะ
T shows your progress with your building tasks.
T ก็เอาไว้ดูแบบว่าเราสร้างอะไรไปแบบเท่าไหร่แล้วนะ
M gives you your game missions.
M ก็เอาไว้ดู mission นะ mission quest อะไรอย่างคนละอย่าง quest น่าเป็นภารกิจส่วน mission ก็เป็นงาน
U gives you your upgrades.
U ก็เอาไว้ดู upgrade
K shows your king's favor.
K เอาไว้ดู king favor เอาไว้ดูความชอบของพระราชาที่มีต่อเรา
H shows how the gods look upon you.
H ก็เอาไว้ดูว่าเทพนะฮะชอบเราหรือว่าดูเรากี่เปอร์เซ็นต์
C navigating the menus or event list. Up and down arrow moves up and down the menu. Enter activates a menu item, but enter does nothing in the simple event list. Note when changing text colors. Shift plus enter will cycle backwards. Escape will leave a menu or a list. T reads the menu title. General function keys while on the map or in the menu. Function key F 1 opens up these instructions in Notepad.
อ๋อ L1 เอาไว้เปิดดูในโน้ตแพด
Key F 2 gives some quick verbal instructions. F 3 repeats the last spoken message. Main menu. View the instructions.
ก็ F เหมือนกัน
Listen to some quick verbal instructions. Listen to some quick verbal instructions.
Some quick instructions
ฟังคำแนะนำด้วยวาจาสั้น
Use the up, down, left, and right arrow keys to move the focus. Use the escape key to get to the main menu. Use the enter key to activate toggle speech off or on.
เอ้ย
Toggle the interest rain off. Toggle the music on or off.
อันนี้เอาไปปิดเพลงนะ
Change the text color. Currently yellow. Change the background color. Currently black. Read the history of Dragon Village. Save your game and exit the program. Read the history of Dragon Village. The history of Dragon Village. The land to the north of the Rocky River had been a dry and infertile place for many a year. Dry, some said, others said scorched, or even burnt. The land to the north of
ดินแดนทางตอนเหนือของแม่น้ำร็อกกี้เป็นสถานที่แห้งแล้งและไม่มียุคยากมาหลายปีแล้ว
dry, some said.
แห้งบางตัวไม่บางตัวไม่
Yet the forest had recently grown again and the blackened hills turned a pleasant olive color.
แต่เมื่อไม่นานมานี้ป่าก็เติบโตขึ้นอีกครั้งและเนินเขาที่ดำกล้ำก็เปลี่ยนเป็นสีเงาที่น่ารื่นรม
It's 16 o'clock. 15. The river Rocky once a dry river.
ว่าเอ็นซ่า
แม่น้ำหินเคยเป็นต้นแม่น้ำแห้งๆไหลกลับมาว่ายพร้อมกับปลา
ว่า instant translate นะครับเป็นการ
Old Rhine the Wise
กว่าที่แชร์อื่นนะหรือว่าเป็น
ผู้เฒ่าผู้ชรายังคงจำวันที่ผู้นำถิ่นฐานดุแรกข้ามแม่น้ำร็อกกี้ได้
Although he was not so old,
แม้ว่าตอนนั้นเขาจะยังอายุไม่มากนักและเขาก็ถูกเรียกว่าหลายสิ่งหลายอย่างไม่มีสักอย่างเลยที่ฉลาด
the settlers nestled in a clearing between the river.
ผู้นำถิ่นฐานตั้งอยู่ในที่โล่งระหว่างแม่น้ำป่าไม้เนินเขาและป่าไม้
Crops were planted in a few.
มีการปลูกพืชและสร้างกระท่อม2-3หลังและฟาร์ม
Next came the tavern, a popular.
สถาบันเป็นโรงเรียนซึ่งเป็นสถานที่ยอดนิยมจนถึงทุกวันนี้
The tavern needed a name.
โรงเรียนจำเป็นต้องมีชื่อเช่นเดียวกับหมู่บ้าน
Brian the Wise suggested the Green Dragon Tavern in mockery of the old wives' tales of dragons. Brian the Wise,
เสนอโรงเรียน
Green Dragon.
เพื่อหลอกเรื่องภรรยากับเรื่องมังกร
Perhaps wisdom has to be learned sometimes.
บางทีปัญญาก็ต้องเรียนรู้บ้างเป็นบางครั้ง
The name stuck, however, in the village became known as Dragon Village after the popular tavern.
อย่างไรก็ตามชื่อนี้ติดอยู่และหมู่บ้านนี้กลายเป็นที่รู้จักในชื่อหมู่บ้านมังกรตามโรงเรียนยอดนิยม
Villagers made baskets and tuna market was set up for passing trade.
ชาวบ้านทำตะกร้าและในไม่ช้าก็มีการตั้งตลาดเพื่อการค้าขาย
As the village grew, a blacksmith and a church were added. Soon a general store was built.
เมื่อหมู่บ้านเติบโตขึ้นก็มีช่างตีเหล็กและโบสถ์
Even the rat seemed well fed. Messengers were sent to the king, but as they, for Brian in those, for some time, Brian, the fishing became a little bit tricky and the dike was needed to protect the main menu. Read,
นะครับ
save your game and exit the program.
อันนี้คือ save เกมกับออกนะ
Play the game.
แล้วมาเริ่มกันเลยดีกว่าที่ play
Press enter on the choice of difficulty level for Dragon Village. Relaxing.
มันมี
Interesting.
หลัก interacting
Challenging.
กับ challenge
Stressful
นะครับกับโหด
Relaxing. Stressful.
stressful
Challenging.
ผมอยากลองเล่น challenge
Stressful.
อันนี้อะไรอะ
เครียด
เครียดอยากเล่นเครียดอยู่นะแต่มันจะเครียดเกินนะครับไม่รู้จะตายไหมเนี่ยโหถ้าตายแล้วนะไม่ดีนะถ้าตายไม่ดีนะแต่จริงๆถ้าลองก็ไม่เสียหายนะทีนี้ก็ทำให้ทุกคนได้ดูแหละแต่ผมจะเล่นแบบเครียดเลยนะ
Relaxing.
จะเป็น
Stressful.
stressful นะ
Stressful.
เล่นไปเลย
Set game difficulty to stressful. Please type Y or N. Thank Kai now. Your difficulty level is now set to stressful. Okay, let's go. You are at location D. 3. The marketplace. It is day. Time to instruct your workers. You have 70 villagers, and you currently have 0 villagers doing some work.
70 villager นะครับ
C B A 3 A A 3 The road A A A 1 The hills.
อะไรก่อน A หนึ่งเป็น
Workers can hunt down some outlaws in the hills.
คนนั้นสามารถตามล่าพวกนักกฎหมายบนเนินเขาได้
B 1 The hills.
เป็นหนึ่งก็เหี่ยวเหมือนกันนะ
Workers can hunt down some outlaws in the hills. C 1 The hills.
C หนึ่งก็เหมือนกัน
D 1 The road to the north. Workers can stare with dread at the
หนึ่ง
คนนั้นสามารถจะมองด้วยความดุออกไปบนขอบฟ้าด้านเหนือของถนนไปทางทิศเหนือ
เอ้ยไม่ได้มันก่อน
E 1 The forest. Workers can hunt down
คนนั้นสามารถล่าหมาป่าในป่าได้
F 1 The forest. G 1 The forest. G 1 The forest. F E G C B A A A A A 1 The A 2 The hills.
สองเหี่ยวเหมือนกัน
B 2 The watchtower. Workers can look out for out.
Wake.
วัดเท่า
คนนั้นสามารถมองหาพวกนอกกฎหมายและหมาป่าได้อย่างสังเกตการณ์
C 2 The village cottages. Workers can make some baskets.
คนนั้นสามารถทำตะกร้าและอาจมีเด็กทารก1 หรือ 2 คนในกระท่อมของหมู่บ้าน
D 2 The green dragon tavern. Workers can take it easy.
คนนั้นสามารถผ่อนคลายสักหน่อยในโรงเรียนมังกรเขียว
E 2 The church. Workers can pray to the gods for self.
คนนั้นสามารถสวดภาวนาต่อเทพเจ้าเพื่อความรอดได้ในโบสถ์
F 2 The guardhouse.
On your
Workers can guard it.
toes.
คนนั้นสามารถป้องกันการโจมตีจากพวกนอกกฎหมายและหมาป่าในป้อมยามได้
G 2 The forest. F E G C B A A A A 2 A 3 The road to the west. Workers can take over.
คนนั้นสามารถนำทองคำไปที่
Greedy city.
และตั้งเจ้าหน้าที่ติดอาวุธตามถนนไปทางทิศตะวันตก
นี่ก็คือจ้างมาล่าพวกนอกกฎหมาย
B 3 The blacksmith. Workers can forge.
คนนั้นสามารถวางสินค้าเครื่องโลหะเพื่อจำหน่ายในช่างตีเหล็กได้
C 3 The building block. Workers can stand up.
คนนั้นสามารถยืนรอบๆและตัดสินกันว่าจะสร้างอะไรในแปลงอาคาร
D 3 The
ตลาดนัด
workers can sell goods.
หรือกด A ดู
คนนั้นสามารถขายสินค้าให้กับนักท่องเที่ยวที่สัญจรไปมาเพื่อหารายได้ในตลาด
E 3 Workers can keep down the
คนนั้นสามารถไล่หนูและอาจขายของบางอย่างในร้านค้าของหมู่บ้าน
F 3 The barley fields. Workers can grow.
คนนั้นสามารถปลูกเมล็ดข้าวบาเล่ได้ในทุ่งข้าวบาเล่
G 3 The road to the east. Workers can take food to
คนนั้นสามารถนำอาหารไปที่
hungry village.
และรวบรวมชาวนาบนถนนไปทางทิศตะวันออก
อันนี้ให้ได้คน
F E D C B A A A A A C The woods. Workers can gather nuts.
คนนั้นสามารถตรวจและขนเบอร์รี่ได้ในป่า
B C The weather station. Workers can fork a soup.
คนนั้นสามารถพยากรณ์อากาศสำหรับวันพรุ่งนี้ได้ในสถานีตรวจอากาศ
C C The farmhouse. Workers can tend to the farm.
คนนั้นสามารถดูแลสัตว์เลี้ยงในฟาร์มในบ้านได้
D C The mill and bakery. Workers can grind flour.
คนนั้นสามารถบดแป้งและอบขนมปังในโรงสีและเบเกอรี่ได้
E C The wheat fields. Workers can grow.
คนนั้นสามารถดูเมล็ดข้าวสาลีในทุ่งข้าวสาลีได้
มีวิฟิลกับบาลีฟิล
F C The dike. Workers can guard it.
คนนั้นสามารถป้องกันน้ำท่วมบริเวณคันกั้นน้ำได้
G C The woods. Workers can gather nuts and berries in the woods. F E D C B A A A A C A 5 The woods. A 5 The wood A C A 5 B 5 The river. Workers can go fish.
คนนั้นสามารถไปตกปลาในแม่น้ำได้
C 5 The river. D 5 The bridge to the south. Caps lock on. Caps lock on. Workers can take goods and
เป็นเรือ
คนนั้นสามารถนำสิ่งของและทองคำไปถวายแก่ที่สถานทางใต้
E 5 The river. F 5 The river. E D 5 The bridge. C 5 D 5 The bridge to the south.
เอาไว้ล่าพวกหมาป่า
E F G 5 The G F E D C B A A 5 The woods.
แล้วมาเล่นมาเลยนะ
A A B 3 The blacksmith. B C B A A C B C The weather station.
ลองกด
Today's weather forecast is not at all helpful, which will be unpredictable.
ยูก่อนนะ
พยากรณ์อากาศวันนี้ไม่มีประโยชน์เลยซึ่งจะทำให้พืชผลคาดเดาไม่ได้การคาดการณ์นี้เชื่อถือได้ศูนย์
Percent. Workers can forecast the weather for tomorrow in the weather station. You have 0 stone boxen, 0 oak wood beams.
เอสไม่มี
You have
100
available food, and you have
100
bags of grain.
เอฟก็มี
Today is day 1 of your leadership in Dragon Village.
อ๋ออันนี้
You have 0 gold coins, and you have 0 goods to sell. You have not earned any respect yet with the gods. You have 0 gems and 0 rubies. You have not gained any favor yet with the king. Blank, blank. Main menu. Play the game. It is day. Time to instruct your worker. Events yesterday in Dragon Village. Return to Dragon Village and continue your day. It is day. You have not upgraded any buildings yet. Status report this day in Dragon Village. You have. It is day. Are you sure you wish to end the day? Please type. Okay. Today's weather forecast is not at all helpful, which will be unpredictable for crop. B. 3. The B. C. B. B. You do not have a quest. C. 1 of the witch. At the moment, you do not have a game mission.
โอเคตอนแรกที่สำคัญเลยนะครับก็มี
B. B. 2. The watchtower. B. B. C. The weather station. B. B. C. The
หรือว่าทาวเวอร์กับ
B. B. 2. The watchtower.
Stay.
B. B. C. The weather station.
เดอะเนี่ยไออะไรไม่รู้คนชื่อนะเป็นหอคอยเอาไว้ดูหมากับดูคนดูผู้ร้ายนะครับกับอีกอันนึงก็คือพยากรณ์อากาศนะครับซึ่งผมจะวางพยากรณ์อากาศนี้ไว้กี่คนวันนี้ให้ไว้กี่
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum of this location is C. How many workers do you want to forecast the weather for tomorrow?
ก็จะกด4ไปเลย
There are now C. Workers here.
โอเคแล้วก็
B. B. 2. The watchtower.
Stay.
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum of this location is C. How many?
วาง
There are now C. Workers.
ที่ผมสำคัญเลยนะผมจำได้หมดนะหมายถึงว่าจำว่าต้องเลื่อนช่องนี้ช่องนั้นนะถึงจะวางเรียนได้ผมก็อาจจะเล่นไว้ก็ไม่แน่ใจนะว่า
B. B. 1. The hill. B. B. 3. The blacksmith.
ยาวกว่านี้
B. C. C. The farmhouse. D. C. The mill and bakery.
ตรงนี้
E. C. The wheat fields.
นี่
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum of this location is. There are now 20 work E. F. 3. The barley. There are currently 0. There are now 20 work E. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum. There are now 6 workers here. E. 3. The village store.
ผมวางไม้ดีกับ
E. C. The wheat fields.
วิทไอคนละ20นะ
E. 3. The village store.
วินเหล็กตัวของมันเป็น10เพราะว่าเอาไว้กันหนูนะแล้วก็ตอน
You
นี้
have 50 villagers, and you currently have
58
villagers doing some work.
58วินเหล็ก
D. 3. The D. 2. The green dragon tavern. C. 2. The village cottages.
อันนี้นะครับเป็นเอาไว้สร้างเด็กขึ้นมา
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum of this location is.
10
There are now 6 workers. You have 50 villagers, and you currently have 68 villagers doing some work.
18นะอีก2คน
D. The marketplace. C. B. The blacksmith.
ที่ blacksmith
There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum of this location is 10. How many workers? There are now 2 workers here.
เพราะตอนนี้เรายังไม่ได้มีอะไรมากมายขนาดนั้นนะผมว่าจะวางไว้
C. D. The marketplace.
จะอยู่ที่มาร์เก็ตแล้วกันเราจะจบ
Are you sure you wish to end today? Please type Y or N. Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good for crops. Workers group 32 bags of today's weather was sunshine.
อากาศวันนี้มีแสงแดดซึ่งดีต่อพืชผล
sunshine ก็คือดีต่อพืชผล
Today, workers group 32 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers group 32 bags of grain in the workers group.
อันนี้คือมันจะบอกว่าเราสร้าง
คนงานปลูกเมล็ดพืช32ถุงในทุ่งข้าวสาลี
Workers group.
คนงานปลูกข้าว32ถุงในทุ่งข้าวบาเล่
Workers at the smithy forge. 2 new metal.
คนงานในโรงตีเหล็กได้หลอมผลิตภัณฑ์โลหะใหม่2ชิ้น
Villagers wheat. 5 new basket tortoise.
หมู่บ้านทอสินค้าเครื่องจักรสานใหม่5ชิ้น
Visiting travelers paid a handsome.
นักเดินทางที่มาเยือนต้องจ่ายเงิน2 ทองรูปเพื่อซื้อสินค้าเพียง1ชิ้นที่ร้านค้าในหมู่บ้าน
Rats help themselves too.
หนูช่วยตัวเองได้ถึง3เม็ด
Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Rats help themselves too.
3
Grain.
เพราะว่าหนู
Visit rats help themselves too. 2 food. Villagers ate up. Food this day.
อันนี้โอ้โหเวลากินไป
Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy for crops. This forecast is 90% reliable.
พรุ่งนี้
พยากรณ์อากาศพรุ่งนี้จะมีฝนตกซึ่งจะทำให้พืชผลเสียหายการคาดการณ์นี้เชื่อถือได้ 90%
90%.
ทำให้ผลเสียหาย
Villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves.
อันนี้คือบอกว่า
Villagers feel safe from outlaws.
outlaws ก็คือยังปลอดภัยอยู่
Villagers feel safe from wolves.
อันนี้เซลล์บูก็คือ
You have villagers.
มี
You currently have villagers doing some work. You have
161
bags of grain. You have available food. You have 2 gold coins. You have 6 goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around 0 outlaws in the rumors suggest they are thought to return to Dragon Village and start it is day. 2 time to instruct your workers. You are at location D. 3 the marketplace. Today's weather forecast is rain.
วันนี้ฝนตกถ้าน้ำท่วมมันจะเป็น flash นะครับฝนตกอันนี้ก็ยังน่าอยู่นะครับถ้าเป็นคราวก็จะเป็นมีเมฆนะครับเป็นได้อยู่นะครับซึ่งผมก็จะถ้าฝนตกวันนี้พรุ่งนี้น่าจะท่วมหรือเปล่าผมก็ไม่รู้นะแต่ที่รู้ผมว่า
D. C. The mill and bakery. B. C. The wheat fields. D. C. The mill and bakery. There are currently 0 workers out of B. C. There are currently 20 workers here. There are now 15 workers. E. F. 3 the barley field. There are now 15 workers.
เพราะว่าอยาก20ลงมาเลย15ก็ enter แล้วก็ใส่จำนวน15ไปอะไรเงี้ย
E. E. F. C. The dike. There are now E. D. C. There are now 5 workers here. E. C. The wheat fields.
ชิป
D. There are currently 5 workers here. There are still 5 workers.
เพราะว่ากลัวว่าน้ำมันจะท่วมแต่ว่าถ้าน้ำท่วมเราจะไม่มีข้าวนะแล้วชาวบ้านเราจะตายนะ
There are now 0 workers here. E. F. C. The dike. There are now 6 workers here.
การไม่ดีกว่าแก้
E. E. D. 3 the marketplace. C. 3 the building cloth. D. 3 the blacksmith. There are now 0 workers. C. 3 C. C. the farmhouse. D. C. the mill and bakery. There are now C. There are now 1 workers here. D. C. the mill. Are you sure you would please press Y or N for yes or no? Okay. Special event. Late in the evening, a herald arrives from the king. Standing in the marketplace, he proclaims his message. It is the king's wish to have a country residence. This village has been chosen as a quiet and peaceful place.
อันนี้เรามี
On the king's order, you must select a building plot and keep the peace. Nobody seems inclined to mention rumors of outlaws or wolves.
ฉัน request มา
Be sure, added the herald, to use large stone block. You assume the king has not heard about this message delivered. You wonder if it is possible. Press any key. Events this day in Dragon Village. The herald walks up in the marketplace and seems to think this is a holiday camp fit for a king.
ผู้ประกาศข่าวดังขึ้นในตลาดและดูเหมือนจะคิดว่านี่เป็นท่าการที่เหมาะสำหรับราชา
มันเขาให้เราพระราชาให้เราสร้างบ้านครับแล้วก็กำจัดพวกนอกกฎหมายแล้วก็หมาป่านะ
Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. Workers group 18 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers group 22 bags of workers used 6 bags of grain in make 19 loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Animals at the farm 8 1 bags of grain in the villagers wheat 3 new basket tortoise. Visiting travelers paid a handsome 5 gold for just 2 goods at the village store. Rats help themselves too. C. Grain. Rats help themselves too. 1 villagers ate up 28 food this day. Your peasants are revolting 58 villagers went without food today.
ชาวนาของคุณน่ารังเกียจวันนี้ชาวบ้าน58ทอดอาหาร
18 villagers died in the revolt, so check all your buildings. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible disaster for crops. This work, villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have
52
villagers. You currently have
47
villagers doing some work. You have
190
bags of grain. You have 0 available food. You have 7 gold coins. You have 7 goods to sell. You currently have
47
villagers doing some work. You have
190
bags of grain. You have rumors suggest there are around 0 rumor return to Dragon Village and ski this day.
3
D. The bridge to the south. D. C. The mill and bakery.
มาทำแบเกอรี่เพื่อทำการให้มันมีเขาเรียกว่าอะไรนะมีข้าวกินครับซึ่งผมว่าลืมไปซะเลย
E. C. The wheat fields. There are currently 12 workers here. There are now C. E. F. There are currently 12. There are now F. C. The dike. There are currently 7 workers here. There are now C. E. D. C. There are currently 0 workers here. There are now C. You have 52 villagers, and you currently have 50 villagers doing some work. There are currently C. workers here. There are now D. 2 the Green Dragon Tavern. C. There are currently 7 workers out of the maximum. There are currently 7 workers here. The maximum of this location is 6. There are now C. workers D. C. The mill and bake. You have 52 villagers, and you currently have 48 villagers. There are currently 5 workers here. There are now 8 workers. You have 52 villagers, and you currently have 58 villagers. There are currently 8 workers here. There are now 12 workers here.
น่าจะพอ
E. C. The wheat fields. D. You have 0 available food, and you have
190
bags of grain. C. There are currently 0 workers out of the maximum of. D. Are you sure you wish to end? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was floods, which was a possible disaster for crops. Workers group 15 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers group 18 bags of grain. Today's weather was floods.
ก็คือน้ำท่วมครับ
สภาพอากาศในปัจจุบันคือน้ำท่วมซึ่งอาจเป็นภัยนะสำหรับพืชผล
Workers group 15 bags of grain in the wheat. Workers group 18 bags of grain in the barley. Floods were held by the dike and workers have saved today's crop of 15 bags of wheat.
แต่ว่าเรา
น้ำท่วมถูกกั้นโดยเขื่อนกั้นน้ำและคนงานได้ช่วยชีวิตพืชผลในวันนี้ไว้เป็นข้าวสาลี15ถุงและข้าวบาเล่18ถุง
ได้
Workers used. 43 bags of grain and milk. 116 loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Villagers weed. 1 new basket tortoise. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. 2 gold for just 1 goods at the village store. Rats help themselves to grain. Rats help themselves to villagers ate up. 67 food this day.
ชิปละลืมเอาไปวาง
Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy for crops. This forecast villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel you have 52 villagers. You currently have 52. You have 111 bags of you have 7 rumors suggest there return to Dragon Village and eat a day. E C E 3 the village store. E F C the dike. There are currently there are now 0 workers here. E 3 the village there are currently there are now E C you have 52 villagers and you currently have 45 villagers doing some work.
5
There are currently workers out of
15นี่10ผมจะแบ่ง
there
3
there are E F there are now 63 you have 52 villagers and you currently have 58 villagers doing E D there are currently workers out of the max there are currently there are now are you sure you okay events this day in Dragon Village today's weather was drought which was bad for crops
เดี๋ยวใช่ไหม
สภาพอากาศวันนี้แห้งแล้งซึ่งส่งผลเสียต่อพืชผล
แห้งแล้งนะครับก็ทำให้พืชผลไม่ค่อยดีเท่าไหร่นะซึ่งมัน
workers grew 6 bags of grain in the wheat fields workers grew 5 bags of grain in the barley fields
มีอยู่ในอันนี้พอสมควร
workers used 48 bags of grain and milk 136 loaves of bread in the mill and bakery
อัน
workers today's weather was drought which was
บ
bad
อกก่อนว่าตรงไหนเป็นตรงไหนครับอัน
today's weather was drought which was bad for crops
บอกว่าวันนี้จะอะไรดีวะพอจบแล้วต้องลองเล่นผมอธิบายไม่ถูกงั้นไม่ได้เลยอธิบายไม่ถูกอันแรกก็คือบอกว่าวันนี้เป็นสภาพอากาศเป็นยังไงอันที่สองอันที่สามเป็นบอกว่าเราทำปลูกอะไรได้บ้างนะ
workers grew 6 bags of grain in the wheat fields workers grew 5 bags of grain in the barley fields
อันที่สี่เป็น
workers used 48 bags of grain and
บ
milk
อกว่าเราเอาข้าวที่เราปลูกมาเนี่ยไปทำอาหารได้เท่าไหร่นะ
villagers wheat 2 new basket tortoise
อันที่ห้าเป็นบอกว่าเราสร้างอะไรสร้างได้กี่อันสร้างอะไรได้บ้าง
a couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby
นี่ไงนะแล้วก็อันที่หกบางครั้งจะมีขึ้นมาเป็นบอกว่าเราเด็กเกิดมา1 คน
as a complete coincidence one young villager came of age today
ก็มันก็โตแล้ว
visiting travelers paid a handsome C gold for just 2 goods at the village store
เป็นบอกว่านักเดินทางนะครับนักเดินทางผ่านมาแล้วก็ซื้ออะไรไปบ้างนะโอ้ไม่นะผมลืมไปเลยว่าลืมวางไว้ตรงอันนั้นนะที่พยากรณ์แล้วก็ตรงคอยนะ
rats help themselves to 2 rats help villagers ate up 62 food is day tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine which will be good for crops this forecast is 25% reliable
25% นะ
villagers feel safe from outlaws villagers you have
53
you have
132
bags of grain you have
115
you have rumors suggest there are around 0 return to Dragon Village eat a day time to instruct D the river D C the wheat fields there are currently 63 there are now F C the dike G 3 the road to the east F 3 there are now E D C B 3 the blacksmith B C the wheat there are now B there are now C you have
53
villagers and you currently have
52
B 3 C there are currently C workers out of them C there are currently 0 workers B C there are currently 0 workers D C the mill and baker there are currently C worker E there are currently C workers out of them D there are currently 0 D there are currently 0 work D 3 E 3 D E F C the dike
เวลาวันนี้25%นะแล้วถ้าเกิดว่าน้ำท่วมบ้าจริงหรือไม่เนี่ยเป็นว่า
E D the bridge to the south C the river
เราทำการ
there are now 1 workers here D C are you sure you wish to end today okay events this day in Dragon Village today's weather was floods which was a possible disaster for crops
ว่า
ส
แล้ว
ภาพอากาศในปัจจุบันคือน้ำท่วมซึ่งอาจเป็นภัยสำหรับพืชผล
น้ำท่วมจริงด้วย
workers grew 15 bags of workers floods broke through the dike and have ruined today's crop of 15 bags of wheat and 15 bags of barley
มันจะไม่แปล
น้ำท่วมทำลายเขื่อนกั้นน้ำทำลายพืชผลในปัจจุบันซึ่งประกอบด้วยข้าวสาลี25 ถุงและข้าวบาเล่15 ถุง
workers used 50 bags of grain and milk
150
loaves of bread workers caught 3 fish on the river villagers wheat 1 new basket tortoise visiting travelers paid a handsome C rats help themselves to rats help villagers ate up
68
food this day tomorrow's weather forecast is drought which will be bad for crops this forecast is task switching events this day in Dragon Village task switching villagers feel safe from outlaws villager you have
53
villagers you currently have
33
villagers doing some you have rumors suggest that return to Dragon Village and start your new day it is day D 3 the marketplace E 3 the D C the mill and bakery E C the flooded fields
นี่ฮะก็จะกลายเป็น
E F 3 the flooded fields E D 3 the marketplace
เป็นว่า
workers can sell goods to passing travelers to earn some money in the marketplace workers you have
195
available food and you have 80 bags of grain
จะเอามา
D C the farmhouse B C there are currently there are now C workers D C you have
53
villagers and you currently have
43
villagers
ถ้าจะหายไปอยู่นะผมจะทำการไปทางอีสหรือว่าตะวันออก10 คนนะเพื่อหาคนมาเพิ่มที่หมู่บ้านเรานะแล้วก็มาน้ำท่วมทำให้เราปลูกข้าวอะไรไม่ได้เลยนะครับซึ่งผมก็จะไปเอาคนถ้ากลับมาไม่ทันผมก็จะเอาคนจากที่ฟาร์มมาแล้วก็ริเวอร์มาปลูกก่อนนะเพราะว่าผมคิดว่า ริเวอร์มันไม่ค่อยได้อะไรอยู่แล้วเพราะว่ามีคนเดียวถ้ามีทั้ง10 คนอันนี้ก็
E F G G H the woods G C the woods G 3 the road to the east. There are now 6 workers here. You have 3 villagers, and you currently have 3 villagers doing some work. Are you sure you wish? Okay, events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was drought, which was that workers used. Bags of grain and milk, 165 loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Animals at the farm ate, bags of grain and provided, eggs and cheeses at the farmhouse. Workers caught, fish on the river. Villagers weed, new basket tortoise. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Gold, food is taken east towards Hungry Village by of your most trusted workers. Store workers prevented rats from eating any grain. Food is
20 ฟู้ด20 บาทของเรานะครับถูกนำออกไปเพราะว่า1คนจากหมู่บ้านเราเท่ากับ2อาหารที่จะนำไปหมู่บ้านนู้นนะครับมีสิทธิ์ได้20 คนถึงมีสิทธิ์ได้10 ถึง 20 คนนะถ้าส่งไปเยอะขนาดนี้นะครับ
rats help themselves to food. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for crops. Villagers feel safe from outlaws. You currently have 3 villagers. You have 3 villager. You have 60 bags of grain. You have 3 available food. You have 19. You have rumors suggest return to Dragon Village and start today. Top G F C the dike F E C the wheat fields. F E D H the
ได้แล้วนะแต่ว่าวันนี้แล้งปลูกไม่ค่อยได้เยอะถ้าปลูกได้ไม่เยอะแล้วอีกอย่างก็คือพวกบาร์รี่เราเหลือแค่10 กว่าแล้วนะพวกพืชที่เราสามารถเอาทำอาหารได้นะครับเหลือแค่10 กว่าเราจะทำการดึงเอาคนจากที่ทำเบเกอรี่นะครับมาทำของขายนะครับจะเผื่อได้ลูกเพิ่มไม่ได้คนเพิ่มนะครับ
D C the mill and bakery. There are now C workers here. C 3 the building block. C 4 the village cottages. There are currently C workers here. There are now you have 3 villagers, and you currently have 8 villagers doing some work. There are now 6 workers here. Are you okay? Special event. You are alarmed to hear reports of a large gang of outlaws arriving in the hills. Your good fortune lookouts guards to send for help from hunt them down as village leader. Present events this day in
มันเข้าว่ามีอีเวนต์ใหม่นะก็คือมีพวกนอกกฎหมายเข้ามาทางเนินนะฮะทางตะวันตกเฉียงเหนือหรือเฉียงใต้ของในเกมนะครับนั่นแหละนะครับจำนวน 40-50 คนนะครับซึ่งสิ่งนี้อันตรายมากนะครับเราต้องระวังไว้ดีๆนะครับเราสามารถติดต่อเนินทางตะวันตกเพื่อให้มันมาล่าได้ว่าจะส่งชาวบ้านไปล่าเองซึ่งนี่ผมไม่แนะนำนะเพราะว่าถึงจะล่าได้แต่ว่าชาวบ้านเราอาจจะตายได้นะถ้าเราไม่มีเครื่องมือที่ดีนะ
Today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops.
วันนี้แรงนะไม่ดีต่อพืชผล
Workers used 60 bags of grain and milk. Loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Animals at the farm ate. Bags of grain and provided. Eggs and cheeses at the farmhouse. Workers caught. Fish on the river. Tragically, one careless fisherman fell in the river and drowned.
โอ้ส่วนนะชาวบ้านเราตาย1 คนนะเพราะว่าตกน้ำ
Villagers weed. New basket tortoise. Some villagers took time off work to make new babies.
สวยแต่ละคน2 คน
As a complete coincidence, youth can now be counted amongst your workforce.
เป็นเรื่องบังเอิญที่ตอนนี้สามารถนำเยาวชน2 คนในกลุ่มแรงงานของคุณได้แล้ว
Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Gold for just 1. Rats help themselves to 7. Village tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for crops. Villagers ate up. 66 food is day. Village tomorrow's weather forecast. Villagers feel safe from wolves. Lookouts are almost certain. Outlaws will attack tomorrow.
พรุ่งนี้จะมี7 คนนะครับมาโจมตี
Village you have 54 villagers. You currently have 52 villagers. You have bags of grain. You have
281
available food. You have 21 gold coin. You have 6 rumors suggest there is return to Dragon Village today.
เรื่องฟู้ดนี่เรายังไม่อะไรขนาดนั้นนะแล้วก็มี7 คนมาโจมตีวันนี้ใช่ไหม
C 3 the building block. C the farmhouse. D the mill and bakery. There are now 0 workers here. C the farmhouse.
เขาไม่มีประโยชน์
There are now 0 workers. D F the guardhouse.
เราจะเป็นการต้องการเท้าแทนนะการเท้าไว้กันพวกหมาหรือว่านอกพวกนอกกฎหมาย
You have 54 villagers, and you currently have 38 villagers doing some work. There are currently only 6 workers available. There are currently 2 workers here.
7-4-16 พอ
There are now 6 work. You have 54 villagers, and you currently have 54 villagers doing. Are you sure you wish to win? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was drought, which was bad. Guards fought off. Outlaws, but no outlaws were killed in the attack. Villagers weed. New basket tortoise.
กันได้
Some villagers took time off work to make. As a complete coincidence, youth can now be counted amongst your workforce. Visiting travelers. Some villagers took time off work to make new babies.
โอเคมีเด็ก2 คนให้เรา
As visiting travelers paid a handsome. C. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible disaster for crops. This work.
น้ำท่วม
Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have 56 villagers. You currently have 54 villagers. You have bags of. You have 210 available food. You have 25. You have 60 goods to sell. You have 25 gold coins. You have rumors suggest there are around. Rumors return to Dragon Village today.
พรุ่งนี้เป็น
There are now 0 work. F the guardhouse.
การเท้าไม่มีนะ
F 3 the barley fields.
มาดิ
F E 3 the village store. F 3 the barley.
ก็ต้องไว้บ้างนะ
There are now 6 workers here. G 3 the road to the east. F 3 E 3 the B C the wheat fields. F C there are currently. Sorry, there are only 8 workers available. There are still workers here. There are currently There are F. There are currently 6 workers here. There are now F. There are currently. There are now F. 3 the barley fields.
บ้านดีผมเอาไว้ให้
F C the dike.
น้ำท่วมผมเอาไว้
E. There are sorry. There are only 3 workers available. There are still there are now 3 E F. There are currently workers here. The maximum of this location.
จากตรงบาลีนะครับให้เป็น
There are now E C the wheat fields. There are now C. Are you sure you wish? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was floods. Which workers grew? Bags of grain in the wheat fields.
5ก็ยังดีนะครับ
Workers group. 7 bags of grain in the barley fields. Floods were held by the Dyken workers have saved today's crop up. 5 bags of wheat done. 7 bags of villagers wheat. 5 new baskets of tortoise. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, visiting travelers paid a handsome 2 gold of your workforce return with 6 grateful peasants from Hungry Village.
โอ้ยได้6 คนเองเหรอชูร้ายจริงนะครับเราได้เพิ่มคนเพิ่มมาเป็นจำนวน7 คนนะครับจากที่เราจากที่คนในชาวบ้านเราสร้างเด็กขึ้นมานะครับก็เขาเรียกว่าอะไรใช้คำไม่ถูกเดี๋ยวนะนึกก่อนนะคนในหมู่บ้านเรามีลูกนะครับ1 คนแล้วก็คนจากที่เราให้ไปทางตะวันออกนะครับได้เพิ่มมาอีก6 คนเป็น7 คนแล้วก็คนที่ไม่ได้ทำงานจริงๆต้องมี17 คนนะเพราะว่าเพิ่งกลับมาจากการทำงาน10 คน
Store workers protected rats from eating any grain. Rats, villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for crops. Lookouts are almost certain. See outlaws with villagers still safe from wolves. You have 63 village. You currently have 46 villagers doing some work. You have 63 village. You have 12 bags of grain.
เข้าไปนะผมแน่ใจมันต้องพูดให้แล้วบางทีมันจะเฉพาะนะ
You have 128 available food.
121
You have 26 gold coins. You have 18. Rumors suggest there are around 58 outlaws in the hills. Rumors suggest they are thought to be soon wolves in the forest.
โอ้ยบอกไว้มันมีมา
Return to Dragon Village and start today. See time to instruct your workers. You are at location. See the wheat fields. Today's weather forecast is drought.
10 คนเหรอสัก20ตรงเขื่อนนี่ไม่ต้องกังวลเพราะว่าตรงเขื่อนไม่ต้องกังวลแล้วเพราะวันนี้แห้งแล้งอีกแล้วนะ
F. See the dike. There are now F. Song. The guard. There are currently. There are now easy workers here. You have 63 villagers, and you currently have 56 villagers doing F. The barley. There are now work E. There are now work. You have 63 villagers, and you currently have 56 villagers doing some work D. See. There are currently soon workers here. There are now workers here. You have 63 villagers, and you currently have 63 villagers. Are you sure you? Okay. Special event. You are shocked to learn that a large pack of wolves has arrived in the forest. Your good village folk look close to panic. Fortunately, Brian the Wise has some more good advice. Lookouts to the watchtower. Guards to the guardhouse. Send for help from the king. Hunt them down in the forest. As village leader, what action will you take? Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. You are shocked to learn that a wolf pack has arrived in the forest.
หมาเดินทางเข้ามาในป่าทางตะวันออกนะครับซึ่งไม่ให้ป่าที่อยู่ตรงแถบ5นะครับเป็นป่าแถบ1นะครับซึ่งเขาบอกว่าเราสามารถให้คนไปเชิญทางเมืองของพระราชามาฆ่าประมาณพวกนี้ได้หรือว่าจะฆ่าเองนะครับซึ่งถ้าฆ่าเองชาวบ้านเราก็มีสิทธิ์ตายสูงมาก
Today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers group. 2 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers group. 3 bags of grain in the barley fields. Workers used 6 bags of grain in mate. 4 loaves of bread. Guards fought off. 6 outlaws on. 1 outlaw was killed in the attack.
Okay.
Villagers wheat. New basket tortoise. Guards fought off. 6 outlaws on.
อันนี้บอกว่า
เจ้าหน้าที่ต่อสู้กับพวกนักกฎหมาย10 คนและคนนอกกฎหมาย1 คนถูกสังหารในการโจมตี
เนี่ยนะ
Villagers wheat. New basket tortoise. Visiting travelers paid a handsome 2 gold for just 1 goods at the village. Rats help themselves to 3 food. Villagers ate up 73 food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy for crops. This forecast is lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack. You have 63 villagers. You currently have 63. You have 0 bags of grain. You have 93 available food. You have 29 gold coins. You have 22. Rumors suggest there are around 68. Rumors suggest they are thought to be 58. Rumors suggest there are around 68 outlaws in the hills. Rumors suggest they are thought to be 58 wolves in the forest. Return to Dragon Village and start your new day today. B. See the wheat fields. B. But there are now 0 workers here. There are currently there are now workers E. Song the church F. Song the guard. There are now 0 work F. The barley field. There are now E. See the wheat field. There are now you have 63 villagers, and you currently have 63 village D. The D. Song the great C. There are currently workers there are now workers here. C. The building clock D. The marketplace D. The mill and bakery. You have 63 villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work. There are currently workers here. The maximum of this location is C. There are now workers. You have 63 villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work. C. The farmhouse. There are currently work. There are now workers here. Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. Workers group. 22 bags of grain in the wheat fields.
อย่างน้อยนะครับถึงไม่เป็นฝนมันก็คล้ายๆกับมีแดดนะครับอย่างน้อยก็ดีกว่าแห้งแล้งแล้วก็น้ำท่วมนะครับ
Workers group. 6 bags of grain in the barley fields. Workers used 40 bags of grain in mate. 120 loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Animals at the farm ate. 0 bags of grain provided. 0 eggs and 0 cheeses at the farmhouse. Villagers wheat. 1 new basket tortoise. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, 1 young villager came of age today.
สวยนะครับได้
Visiting travelers paid a handsome gold for just 2 goods at the village store. Rats help themselves to see food. Villagers ate up 69 food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy for crops. Lookouts are almost certain. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack. You have 63 villagers. You currently have 63 villagers. You have 0 bags of grain. You have 130 available food. You have 33 gold coin. You have 28 goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around rumors suggest they are thought to be wolves in the forest. Return to Dragon Village and start your day today. D. See the mill and bakery. E. See the wheat fields. You have 130 available food, and you have 0 bags of grain. There are currently workers. There are now 63 E. F. There are now 63 workers here. E. D. C. C. The farmhouse. There are now 0 workers here. C. D. D. C. There are now work D. E. The village store. E. C. The wheat fields. E. E. F. Song the guardhouse. Sorry, there are only 6 workers. There are currently 0 There are now 8 workers here. F. Are you sure you wish? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. Workers group.
19
Bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers group.
23
Bags of grain in the barley fields. Workers used.
24
Bags of grain in made.
75
Loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Guards fought off. Outlaws and
2
outlaws were killed in the attack. Village sweet.
1
New pass reported. Visiting travelers paid a handsome
2
gold for just
1
goods at the village store. Store workers prevented rats from eating any grain. Rats helped themselves to
5
food.
ส่วนกูกับส่วนทองกับทองตรงปุ่ม G กับเจมอัญมณีกับรูบี้ตรงปุ่ม J สำคัญยังไงบางครั้งจะมีเรือของลูกค้าผ่านมาทางแถบ5นะครับแล้วก็จะขอเรียกแบบ5เป็นด้านล่างสุดกับ1เป็นข้างบนสุดนะน่าจะเข้าใจกันหรือเปล่านะฮะซึ่งก็คิดว่าสำคัญนะเพราะว่าบางอย่างเช่นธนูเอาไว้ล่าพวกหมาป่าหรือว่าอะไรเงี้ยมันสำคัญนะครับ
Villagers ate up.
83
Food this day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is some clouds, which will be okay for crops. This forecast is 80% reliable.
พรุ่งนี้มีแดดนะครับ
Lookouts are almost certain. Outlaws will attack tomorrow. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack tomorrow.
มี7 คนมาโจมตี
You have
64
villagers. You currently have
64
village. You have
18
bags of grain. You have
117
available food. You have
36
you have
18
you have
117
available food. You have
36
gold coins. You have
21
goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around
53
outlaws in the hill. Rumors suggest they are thought to be
58
wolves. Return to Dragon Village. It is day. F.
C
The E.
C
The wheat fields. D.
C
The mill and bakery. There are now 0 workers. E.
C
The wheat field. E. D.
3
The marketplace. C.
3
The building block. B.
3
The blacksmith. There are now 0 workers. C. D. E.
3
E.
C
The wheat fields. There are currently
13
workers out of the maximum of. There are now
15
E. F. There are now
15
you have
64
villagers, and you currently have
63
villagers to F. There are currently
11
there are now
12
Are you sure you okay? Special event. Late in the evening, another herald arrives from the king. Standing in the market, the king's wishes. And you under press event.
ไอ้ที่ราชาก็บอกให้เราฆ่าหมาป่ากับพวกนอกกฎหมายนะครับ
Today's weather was some clouds, which was okay for crops. Workers group.
21
Bags of grain in the wheat field. Workers group.
21
Bags of grain guards fought off.
8
Outlaws and
2
outlaws were killed in the attack. Villagers wheat.
2
New pass reported. Visiting travelers paid a handsome
2
gold for just
1
goods at the village store. Rats help themselves to
1
grain. Rats help themselves to
2
villagers ate up.
83
Food this day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible disaster for crops. This forecast is 80% reliable. Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf. You have
64
village. You currently have
64
you have
59
bags. You have
32
available food. You have
59
bags of grain. You have
32
available. You have
38
gold coins. You have
22
goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around
57
outlaws. Rumors suggest they are thought to be
55
return to Dragon Village. It is day. F.
2
There are now 0 F.
C
There are currently there are now workers here. E. D. There are sorry. There are only
2
workers. There are now E. C. There are currently workers. There are E. F. There are now
65
E. D. C. The mill and bakery. There are now you have
64
villagers, and you currently have
63
villagers doing some work. C. The farmhouse. There are now you have
32
available food, and you have
59
bags of grain. Are you sure you would please press Y or N for yes or no? Events this day in Dragon Village. Workers group. Today's weather was floods, which was a possible disaster for crops. Workers group.
23
Bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers group.
17
Bags of grain in the barley fields. Floods were held by the dike, and workers have saved today's crop of
23
bags of wheat and
17
bags of barley. Workers used
22
bags of grain and made loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Animals at the farm ate. Soon workers used
22
bags of grain and made loaves of bread. Animals at the farm ate. Soon bags of grain and provided. Soon eggs and villagers wheat.
2
New basket reported. Visiting travelers paid a handsome
2
rats help themselves to
2
rats villagers ate up.
64
Food this day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is some clouds, which will be okay. Lookouts are almost certain.
62
Lookouts are almost certain.
8
Wolves will attack tomorrow. You have
64
villagers. You currently have
64
villager. You have
75
bags of grain. You have
22
available food. It's you have gold coins. You have
75
bags of grain. Rumors suggest there are around
54
rumors suggest they are thought to be return to Dragon Village. It is day. D.
C
The mill and bakery.
สวยนะครับมีหมาโจมตี8 ตัวกับคน12นะครับอย่างนี้ก็แสดงว่าข้าวก็จะไม่ข้าวมีครับแต่ว่าอาหารเนี่ยไม่ค่อยมีแสดงว่าเราต้องเอาจากคนที่ปลูกข้าวออกมานะเพราะว่าข้าวก็พอมีละนะครับเราก็ต้องผ่านแบบเอาไปถ่ายดาบหน้ามันแบบผ่านไปมันถ้าจะให้รวยน่าจะอีกสักพักเพราะว่าช่วงนี้ก็ยังมีไม่มากนะต้องเข้าใจเพราะว่าตอนแรกมันตายไป18 คนนะเสียดายเหมือนกันนะเราลืมได้ยังไงนะมันลืมเมคข้าวให้เขากินนะ
E. C. The wheat fields. There are now 0 workers. F. There are now 0 F. There are currently
63
workers here. There are now F. There are currently there are now you have F. E. D. C. The mill and baker. There are currently there are now you have
64
villagers, and you currently have
53
villagers doing some work. C. There are
1
there are now workers here. You have
64
villagers, and you currently have
62
villagers doing some work. D. E. C. The wheat fields. There are now E. F. There are now workers here. E. You have villagers. There are currently workers out of the market. You have village. Are you sure you wish? Okay. Special event. Villagers are pleased to find many rats have died,
สวยอีกแล้วนะครับ
but excitement turns to horror. As if this is present events.
อันนี้ก็คือโลกนะครับโลกทำให้ชาวบ้านเราบางคนตายไปนะครับอันนี้ก็อันตรายสุดยอดนะครับอันตรายมากเลยนะครับมันสุ่มนะว่าเราจะตายวันไหนถ้าสมมติว่ามาตายวันที่บ่ามันโจมตีด้วยนะครับสวยแล้วโคตรสวยนะครับโคตรบ้าบอเลยนะครับ เอาล่ะไม่เป็นไรนะครับเข้าใจเพราะมันเป็นโหมดเครียดนะครับเราก็ไม่ต้องเครียดไป
What madness? 3. Villagers threw themselves into the dike today and a few workers stopped work, so check all your buildings.
นะครับสามตาย
The plague released. C. Told your souls today and a few workers went off sick, so check all your buildings. What map? Today's weather was some clouds, which was okay for crops. Workers used.
43
Bags of grain and milk.
129
Loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Animals at the farm ate. Bags of grain and provided.
16
Eggs and
14
cheeses at the farm. Guards fought off.
12
Outlaws and
2
outlaws were killed in the attack. Guards fought off. Wolves and
1
wolf was killed in the attack. Villagers wheat.
1
New basket tortoise. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Rats help themselves too.
1
Rats help themselves too. Food. Villagers ate up.
74
Tomorrow's weather forecast is some clouds, which will be lookouts forecast. There will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. Lookouts estimate. Wolves will attack tomorrow. You have
57
villagers. You currently have
55
villagers. You have
23
you have
57
villagers. You currently have
55
villagers doing some work.
หายไป7 คนนะครับ
You have
23
bags of grain. You have
101
available food. You have
43
gold coin. You have
23
you have
101
available. You have rumors suggest they are around.
52
Rumors suggest they are thought to be.
61
Return to Dragonville. It is day. E.
3
The village store. E.
2
The church. F. The guard. There are currently. There are now. C. E. There are currently. There are now. D. C. C. There are now. C. B.
3
The blacksmith. B.
2
There are now. C. B. There are now. C. The farmhouse.
ถึงจะยังไงผมไม่รู้ว่าตรงไหนมันมีเท่าไหร่บ้างผมกดไว้ก่อนครับสำคัญผมกดผมคิดในใจแล้วว่าจะตั้งไหนบ้าง
D. C. The mill and bakery.
อันนี้ก็
There are currently. There are now. C. There are now. C. Workers. You have
57
villagers, and you currently have.
52
You have
57
villagers, and you have
57
villagers, and you currently have
52
villagers doing some work. You have
57
villagers. D. E. C. The wheat fields. There are currently
0
workers out of. You have
57
villagers, and you currently have
52
there are now. E. F. There are now. You have
57
villagers, and you currently have
56
villagers doing some work. E.
F.
F. There are currently. There are now. Worker. Are you sure you wish? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was some clouds, which was okay for crop. Workers group.
3
Bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers group.
3
Bags of grain in the barley fields. Workers used.
29
Bags of grain and milk.
82
Loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Animals at the farm ate.
0
Bags of grain and guards fought off. Wolves and wolves were killed. Villagers wheat.
2
New basket tortoise. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came of age. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Gold. Rat. Villagers ate up.
67
Food. Tomorrow's weather forecast is some clouds, which will lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf. You have
58
villagers. You currently have
57
villagers. You have
0
bags of grain. You have
113
available. You have
48
gold coin. You have
23
goods to sell. Rumors suggest they are around.
55
Rumor return to Dragon Village. It is day. There are now 0 workers. F.
3
The barley fields. There are currently
2
there are now. C. E. C. The wheat fields. There are currently. Sorry. You have
58
village. D. C. C. There are now 0 workers. D. E. There are currently. There are now. C. Worker. You have
58
villagers, and you currently have
52
villagers doing some work. E. D. C.
3
The C. The village cottage. There are currently
C.
workers here.
8
There are now. C. Workers here. You have
58
villagers, and you currently have
58
villagers doing some work.
สร้างเด็กน้อย
Are you sure you wish to end today? Please type Y or
มี
N.
ลูก
Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. You are.
ไม่ได้สร้างเด็กน้อยมีลูกนะครับต้องมีลูกไม่งั้นเรามีสิทธิ์สวยนะเพราะว่าเราจะไม่มีชาวบ้านใช้นะ
Today's weather was some clouds, which was okay for crop. Workers group.
28
Bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers group.
14
Bags of grain in the barley field. Workers used.
35
Bags of grain and milk.
105
Loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Villagers wheat. C. New basket tortoise. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up.
75
Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for crops. This forecast is lookouts are almost certain.
15
Lookouts are almost certain.
14
Wolves will attack tomorrow.
โอ้โหมากันเป็นฝูง
You have
58
villagers. You currently have
58
villagers. You have
0
bags of grain. You have
138
you have
53
gold coins. You have
25
you have
53
gold coin. You have rumors suggest they are around.
67
Rumors suggest return to Dragon Village. It is day.
18
Time to instruct your workers. You are at location C.
2
The village cottages. Today's weather forecast is drought.
สวยมากๆเลยนะครับโอ้โหแรงก็แรงข้าวก็ไม่มีกินพรุ่งนี้มาเป็นฝูงเลยนะครับถึงว่ากันมา
D. The green dragon tap. C. C. The building block. C. The farmhouse. D. The mill and bakery. There are now 0 workers here. There are currently. There are still. You have
138
available food. And you have
0
there are now 0 E. C. There are now 0 F. There are now 0 F. There are currently. There are now. You have
58
villagers, and you currently have
48
villagers doing some work. F. E.
3
The village store. D. The marketplace. D. C. E.
3
The village. You have
58
villagers, and there are currently workers out of E. E. The river. There are currently. There are now workers here. You have
58
villagers, and you currently have
58
villagers doing some work. Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. Workers caught.
24
Fish on the river. Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. Today's workers caught. Tragically, one careless fisherman fell in the river and drowned. Guards fought off. Outlaws and outlaw was killed in the attack. Guards fought off.
13
Wolves and wolves were killed in the attack. Villagers wheat. C. New basket tortoise. Some villagers took time off work to make new babies. As if visiting travelers paid a handsome. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Food. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be lookouts are almost certain.
22
Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack. Lookouts are almost certain. Outlaws will attack tomorrow.
เอา
Look, you have
59
villagers. You currently have
57
villagers doing. You have
0
bags of grain. You have
79
available food.
แต่ว่าอาหาร
You have
ไม่ได้
gold coins. You have
27
goods to sell. Rumors suggest they are around. Outlaws and rumors suggest they are thought to be.
51
Well,
แล้วมันมา
return to Dragon Village and start your new day. It is day.
19
Time to instruct your workers. Today's weather forecast is
พยากรณ์อากาศวันนี้มีฝนตกซึ่งจะทำให้พืชผลเสียหาย
D. The bridge to the south. C. There are now B. The river. A. The woods. B. C. D. E. The river. F. The river.
แล้วก็มีเรือ
E. D. C. The mill and bakery.
ขา
D. C. The bill B. The box B. The watch. There are currently. C. B. There are currently. C. Workers B. C. The building block. D. The market D. C. The mill and bakery. You have
59
villagers, and you currently have
48
villagers E. There are currently. There are now. You have
59
villagers, and you currently have
58
villagers doing D. C. The mill E. C. There are currently. Workers here. The max. There are D. There are now. You have 59 villagers, and you currently have 58 villagers doing E. C. The wheat fields. F. C. The dike. E. C. The wheat. E. D. C. B. A. The woods. There are currently soon. There are now. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's workers grew. Bags of grain in the wheat field. Workers used. Workers gathered. Nuts and berries in the woods. Outlaws broke through the village defenses and stole. 37 food. 25 goods and 15 gold.
โอ้โห
พวกมอบกฎหมายรวมทั้งป้องกันหมู่บ้านและขโมยอาหาร37รายการสินค้า25รายการและทองคำ15รายการ
Villagers weed. New basket sorted. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came of age today. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. 2. Rats helped themselves too. Villagers stayed up. 61 food. Your peasants are revolting. Villagers went without food today. 2. Villagers left the village in search of food, so check all your buildings.
เรียบร้อยนะฮะ
Tomorrow's weather forecast is some clouds, which will be okay for crops. Lookouts forecast there will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. Lookouts estimate. Wolves will attack tomorrow. You have 58 villagers. You currently have 58 villagers doing some work. You have 0 bags of grain. You have 0 available. You have 45 gold coins. You have 6 goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around 63. Rumors suggest they are thought to be 54. Return to Dragon Village today. Top A. There are now 0 B. The river. B. C. There are now B. B. There are now C. C. There are currently there are now C. C. The building plot. D. C. The mill and bakery. E. F. C. The dike. E. D. C. The mill. There are currently C. There are now E. E. The there are currently. There are now C. E. C. The wheat fields. E. E. F. F. There are currently soon workers here. The maximum of this location is there are F. The guard top. There are currently 19. There are now C. F. E. F. The guard F. The barley fields. There are currently soon. There are now E. E. There are now C. You have 58 villagers, and you currently have 58 villagers doing some work. D. There are currently workers out of the. There are currently. There are now workers. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. You are dismayed to hear another. Wolves have arrived in the forest.
ข่าวร้ายนะครับมีหมาเพิ่มขึ้น16ตัวในป่า
Today you are dismayed to hear another. Wolves have.
คุณตกใจมากเมื่อได้ยินหมาป่าอีก16ตัวมาถึงป่าแล้ว
Today's weather was some clouds, which was okay for crops. Workers grew 19 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers grew 15 bags. Workers used 33 bags of grain in the milk.
103
Loaves of bread in the mill and bakery.
รอบอีกวันหนึ่งนะ
Guards fought off. Wolves, but no wolves were killed in the attack. Villagers weed. New basket sorted. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. C. Gold for just store workers prevented rats from eating any grain. Rats helped themselves too. 2. Villagers stayed up. 69 food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible disaster. Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts are almost certain. 18 wolves will attack tomorrow. You have 58 villagers. You currently have 58. You have 1 bags of grain. You have 22 available. You have 49 gold coins. You have goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around 63 outlaws and rumors suggest they are thought to be 68. Return to Dragon Village and start to eat a day. Type C. D. C. The mill and bakery. E. C. There are now E. F. There are now F. There are currently. There are now C. You have 58 villagers, and you currently have 58 villagers doing some work. E. D. C. The mill and bakery. There are currently workers here. The maximum of this location. There are now 3 E. C. The wheat field. There are currently F. There are currently C. Workers E. E. F. There are currently work F. C. The dike. E. D. D. The marketplace. C. C. The village cottages. There are currently C. There are now C. D. E. E. The church. F. There are currently C. Workers out of the maximum of 25 in the guard. You have 58 villagers, and you currently there are currently C. Work.
ของเราโอ้โหผมว่าได้ว่า20
You have 58 villagers, and you currently have 53 villagers. You have 58 villagers. There are currently C. Workers here. Sorry, there are only workers. There are currently. There are now. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was floods, which was a possible disaster for crop. Workers grew. Bags of grain. Workers grew. Floods were held by the dike, and workers have saved today's crop up. Workers used 60 bags of grain and made 60 loaves of bread. Guards fought off. 18 wolves and 2 wolves were killed in the attack. Villagers weed. New basket sorted. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Rats helped themselves too. Villagers say your peasants are revolting. Villagers went without food today. Villagers died from malnutrition, so check all your buildings. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which will be lookouts forecast there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts forecast there will be no wolf attack tomorrow.
สวย
You have 58 villagers. You currently have
พรุ่งนี้นะครับ
You have lookouts forecast there will be no outlaw attack. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which will be good for crops. This forecast is 65% reliable.
แสดงว่าตรงนี้หาย
Look you have 0 bags of grain. You have 0 available food. You have 54 gold coins. You have C. goods to sell. You have 57 lookouts forecast there will be no wolf attack tomorrow. Lookouts forecast there will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. You have C. goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around. You have 54 gold coins. You have 0 available food. You have 0 bags of grain. You have C. goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around. Rumors suggest they are thought to be 67 wolves return to Dragon Village today. E. F. There are now 0 workers here. F. E. D. C. The building block. C. The farmhouse. B. C. There are now B. There are now B. C. D. C. The mill and bakery. E. There are currently C. workers. There are now work E. F. The barley fields. There are now 0 work E. D. C. The mill and bakery. There are now C. You have 58 villagers, and you currently have 58 villagers doing some work. Are you sure? Okay. Special event.
สวยเลย
Excitement flows through the whole village. A merchant arrives with a boatload of goods from Greece. Village folk stream to the river, then slowly trickle back. Salvation has arrived, but seemingly at a price. Press any key to continue. Events this day in today's weather was sunshine, which was good for river merchant arrives from Greece. Today's workers grew 32 bags of workers used. Villagers weed. New basket sorted. Workers grew 32 bags of grain in the wheat fields.
ผมยังไม่ปลูกบารี่นะเพราะว่าวีทฟิลมันเอาข้าวมาทำอาหารนะครับพวกบารี่มันเอาไว้มันก็เป็นเซลล์แล้วมั้งไม่แน่ใจผมไม่แน่ใจนะครับ
Workers used 32 bags of grain and made loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Villagers weed. New basket sorted. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. 2 gold for just
โกเราเอาไว้ซื้อของจากพ่อค้าเนี่ยครับสำคัญสุดๆนะผมอยากได้มันสุดๆนะ
Rats help themselves too. Villagers. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy. Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf. You have 58 villagers. You currently have 58 villagers doing some. You have 0 bags of grain. You have 22. You have 54 gold coins. You have C. goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around. Rumors suggest they are thought. Return eat a day. D. The bridge to the south. D. C. The river B. The river merchant. You have 54 gold coins. Merchandise for sale. C. Long swords for more effective outlaw hunts. Gold. C. Short bows for more deadly wolf hunts. Gold. C. Long bows for watchtower defenders. Gold. Long staves for guardhouse defenders. Gold. Drought resistant wheat. Gold. Total weather with drought resistant wheat. Gold. Drought resistant wheat. Pain. File to blank. Pain. Explorer. Rockies track. Rockies. Drought resistant wheat.
ข้าวสาลีพลแรง30 ทอง
อันนี้ข้าวสาลีลงน้าเนี่ย
20 drought resistant wheat 20 long stays for guardhouse defenders 40 gold
ผมต้องคิดก่อนว่าอะไรมันดีกว่ากันนะครับระหว่างพวกมีดพวกดาบพวกธนูอะไรกับข้าวซึ่งผมคิดว่าข้าวสำคัญกว่านะเลยเป็นเตียงผลิตอันนี้ก็ดีนะครับผมเอาเรื่องให้ดูกัน
drought resistant wheat total weather resistant wheat quick growing barley seeds loom for the cottage workers 2 double beds for the cottage workers 30 gold loom for the cottage workers 30 gold Oracle Owl gets its instrument out for the menu sounds to quick growing barley seeds menu sounds courtesy of Witch Wanda Oracle Owl menu sounds to quick growing barley seeds
เมล็ดข้าวบาเล่โทเรล60เป็นทอง
loom total weather resistant wheat 60 gold
ข้าวสาลีทนต่อสภาพอากาศทั้งหมด60ทอง
เฮ้ยอันนี้เหรอข้าวสาลีเหรออีกแค่4ทองอ่ะ2 4 ทองอ่ะ2 3 4ทองอ่ะรอพรุ่งนี้เหรอค่อยซื้อเหรอน่าสนว่ะรอพรุ่งนี้ดีกว่าครับ
Eat a day you have 56 gold coins and you have C you have 56 gold C 5 the river
ทางนี้ทางสี
Are you sure you wish to enter? Okay, events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. Workers grew.
24
Bags of grain in the wheat workers used.
24
Back villagers wheat. Soon, new basket sorted. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. C. Gold for just 2 goods at the village store. Rats help themselves too. Villagers tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which will be lookouts are almost certain.
28
Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack tomorrow. You have
57
villagers. You currently have
57
villagers. You have 0 bags of you have
32
available food. You have
60
gold coins. You have 2 goods. Rumors suggest they are around. Rumors suggest return to Dragon Village today.
24
C. The river merchant. You have
60
gold coins and you have merchandise.
10
Long stays for drought resistant wheat. Total weather resistant wheat. Quick growing barley seeds.
60
Gold. Total weather resistant wheat. Quick loom for the cottage worker. Quick total weather resistant wheat.
60 gold
Drought resistant wheat. Total weather resistant wheat.
30
gold. Total weather resistant wheat. 60 gold.
เนี่ยซื้อเลย
You hand over 60 gold for a supply of total weather resistant wheat seeds. Drought resistant total weather wheat today. C. D. The mill and bakery. C. D. There are currently C. Workers out of E. C. You have
32
available food and you have 0 bags D. C. There are currently workers out of a maximum of E. C. The wheat fields.
อ๋อเดี๋ยวน้ำท่วมตกเกม
There are currently there are now E. F. There are currently 0. There are still F. The guardhouse. There are currently 0 workers out F. E. D. The marketplace. E. F. There are currently workers out of a maximum of C. In the dike. F. C. The dike. There are now 0 workers here. F. The guard. There are currently 0 workers here. The max. Sorry, there are only 19 work. There are currently 0. There are now E. D. There are currently 0 workers at C. The village. There are currently workers out of a maximum of C. In the village cottages. C. There are currently 0 workers at C. D. C. The mill and bakery. There are currently C. Workers C. There are currently 0 B. There are currently C. Workers out of a maximum of C. In the wheat. B. There are currently C. B. C. There are currently 0 workers out of a maximum of C. In the D. There are currently C. Workers here. The maximum of this location is C. There are now D. E. The church. F. There are currently there are now E. D. The Green Dragon Tavern. C. There are now workers here.
ตรงนี้นะครับ
D. The Green Dragon Tavern.
เอาไว้แบบถ้ามีคนเยอะๆมันทำให้คนแบบพวกอย่างพวกที่มันทำให้เรารู้ว่าสามารถขุดหินได้ที่ไหนหรือว่าตัดไม้ได้ที่ไหนมานะครับซึ่งอันนี้เอาไว้สร้างบ้านให้ราชาครับซึ่งอันนี้ผมก็คิดว่าสำคัญนะครับแต่ว่าก็ทำไม่ได้เพราะว่าเครียดอยู่ตอนนี้ต้องถูๆถ่ายไปก่อนนะครับไม่ไหวนะ
You have 0 gold coins and you have song. Are you sure you wish to enter today? Okay, events this day in Dragon Village. You bought total weather resistant wheat grain for 60 gold. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good for crops. Workers used improved seeds to grow. 16 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers used 16 bags of grain in made. 45 workers used improved seeds to grow. 16 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Today workers used 16 bags of grain in made. 45 loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Outlaws broke through the village defenses installed. 38 food, song, goods and 0 gold. Villagers wheat, new basket sorted. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Song, store workers go back to rat catching as there are no goods to sell. Rats help themselves too. Song, food. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Your peasants are revolting. Villagers went without food today. Villagers left the village in search of food. So check out tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for crops. Lookouts reckon there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts guess. Wolves will attack tomorrow.
52
You have 64 villagers.
ทำอะไร
You currently have
43
villagers doing some work. You have 0 bags of you have 0 avail you have song you have 0 rumors suggest there are around rumors return to Dragon Village today. C. B. A. B. Song the watch there are now B. There sorry there C. The farmhouse. Are you sure you wish to reset your workforce? Please press Y or N for yes or no. Okay, all done. B. C. B. There are now C. B. There are now C. Workers here. B. C. D. E. F. The barley fields. F. Song the guard there are currently there are now F. There are currently there are now C. E. There are currently sorry there are only workers there are currently 0 workers here. The maximum of this location is 20 there are now workers here. You have 0 available food and you have 0 bags of grain. E. F. There are now E. D. C. There are currently 0 work. There are now you have 64 villagers and you currently have villagers doing some work. There are currently workers here. The maximum of this there are E. There are currently workers here. There are E. F. There are now C. Are you sure you okay? Events this day in Dragon Village. The plague released. C. Tortured souls today and a few workers went off sick. So check all your buildings. What madness? Villagers threw themselves into the dike today and a few workers stopped work. So check today's weather was floods, which was a possible disaster for workers used improved seeds to grow. Bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers grew. Bags of grain in the barley fields. Floods broke through the dike and have workers used. 0 bags of grain in made. 0 loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Guards fought off. 26 wolves and 1 wolf was killed. Villagers ate up. 0 food is day.
2 จริงนะฮะตกใจหมด
Your peasants are revolting. 39 villagers went without food today. 12 villagers left the village in search of food. The future is so bleak. All your villagers have just deserted you. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for crops. This forecast lookouts are rather hazy about outlaw activity tomorrow. Lookouts are rather hazy about wolf activity tomorrow. You have 0 villagers. You currently have 0 villagers. You have 0 bags of grain. You have 0 villagers. Look up. You have 0 villagers. You currently have 0 villagers doing some work. You have 0 bags of grain.
แค่มันจะตายแล้วนะมัน
You have 0 available food. You have 2 gold coins.
ผิดตั้งแต่
You have 0 rumors suggest they are around. Rumors suggest they are return to Dragon Village. Today's weather forecast is drought. Special event. You have failed. You failed your village folk and you failed your king. Your surviving few peasants have deserted. You spend an empty day looking at empty buildings. Late in the day, the king's cavalry arrive. and on the king's orders. The soldiers carry out your execution. Press any key to enter misery. Main menu. Play the game. Abandon current game and restart from day.
เอาใหม่นะครับ
Okay, are you sure you wish to scrap your current game? Please type Y or N. Okay, you are the leader of a small settlement called Dragon Village. You probably already know about the better press enter challenging.
ถ้าเล่นแบบรีแลกซ์ผมอยากเล่นรีแลกซ์แล้วโอ้มันนานแล้วผมเล่นโอ้นานแล้วนะครับสักพักแล้วนะแล้วเนี่ยผม
It's 6 o'clock. 1 minute and
ก็5 โมงแล้วก็ช่างมันเถอะหรือว่าไม่ช่างมัน
interest relaxing. Stressful.
เล่น
Relax interest relaxing.
รีแลกซ์จะได้100 คนนะครับ
Set game difficulty to relaxing. Please type Y or N.
ไปรีแลกซ์ดีกว่านะครับเครียดเอาไว้เล่นทีหลังดีกว่าครับ
Thank you now. Your difficulty level is now set to relaxing. Okay, let's go. You are at location F. Sam, the barley fields. It is you have villagers, and you currently have soon villagers doing some work.
วันแรกจะเป็นวันที่มันมี
E D Sam, the marketplace. C Sam, the building block. B Sam, the blacksmith. B there are B there are now C Sam, the village cottages. There are now C the farm D C there are currently soon. There are now C there are currently. There are now E F there are currently. There are now E there are now you have villagers, and you currently have villager D Sam, the marketplace.
ก็จะอย่างนี้นะครับ
D Sam E F G Sam, the road you have available food, and you have bags of grain. There are currently soon workers here. The maximum. There are now C workers you have villagers, and you currently have village F E D Sam, the marketplace.
ไปทำอะไรไปก่อนนะครับทำอะไรได้ก็ทำไปก่อนนะ
C Sam, the build B Sam, the blacksmith. There are currently
รีบ
there are now C workers C D you have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work.
แค่จากเมื่อกี้แหละโอ้โห
There are currently soon workers. There are now song. Are you sure you wish? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good for crops. Workers group. Sam song. Bags of grain. Workers group. Bags of grain in the barley fields. Workers used. Bags of grain in made. Loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers.
เข้าไปนะครับ เสลดอะไรเงี้ยนะครับมันทำให้ไอนะเนี่ยครับ
Villagers weed. C. New basket tortoise. Some villagers took time off work to make song. New babies. As a complete coincidence. Song. Youth can now be counted amongst your workforce. Passing travelers paid. Song. Gold visiting travelers paid a handsome. Song. Gold for just 1 food is taken east towards hungry village 5. Of your most rats help themselves too. Song. Rats help themselves. Villagers ate up. Song. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy for crops. Villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers you currently have you currently have bags of grain. You have available food. You have C. Gold coins. You have C. goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around soon. Rumors suggest they are thought to be. So return to Dragon. Today's weather was return to it is day. D. Sam. The marketplace. There are now. Are you sure you okay? Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy. Workers group. Sam. Bags of grain in the workers group. Sam. Bags of workers used. Song. Bags of grain in made. Loaves of workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers. Villagers weed. New basket tortoise. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came up. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Song. Gold. Passing travelers paid. Gold for. Goods at the marketplace. As a visiting travelers paid a handsome. Song. Gold for just goods at the village store. Rats help themselves too. Sam. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers you have villagers you currently have you have bags of you have song gold coin you have goods. Rumors suggest there are around soon. Outlaws rumors return today's weather was rain. Return to it is day. There are now you have villagers, and you currently have are you sure you okay? Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was drought, which workers group. Bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers group. Bags of workers used. Song. Bags of grain in made. Loaves of bread in the workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers. Villagers wheat. New basket tortoise. Passing travelers paid. Gold for. Goods at the marketplace. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. C. Gold for just song. Goods at the village store. Rats help themselves too. Song. Grain. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel you have villagers you currently have you have gold coin. You have rumors suggest they return to dragon today. C. Time to instruct your workers. You are at location D. You have villagers, and you currently have are you sure you wish to win? Okay. Special event. Late in the evening, a herald arrives from the king, standing in the this on the shot. You have
เนี่ยมัน
press
เดิ
if
มครับเป็นทำให้เราต้องสร้างบ้านนะครับมันเดิม
today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. Workers group. Bags of grain in the wheat. Workers group. Bags workers used. Bags of grain in made. Loaves of bread in workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers. Villagers wheat. New basket tortoise. Some villagers took time off work to make song. New babies. As a complete coincidence, song. Youth can now be passing travelers paid. Gold for. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. C. Of your workforce return with. Grateful presents from hungry village.
สวยครับ
Rats help themselves too. Song. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Rats village. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have villagers. You currently have villagers doing. You have bags of grain. You have gold coin. You have rumors suggest there are rumors return to dragon today. You have available food, and you have D. The marketplace. There are currently there are now you have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work. D E F G G the road to the east. There are now C workers there are now workers here. You have villagers, and you currently have are you sure you wish to win today? Please type Y. Okay. Special event. You are alarmed to hear reports of your look guards to the guardhouse. Send for help from Greedy City.
เอ้ยหรือคน
Hunt them down in the hills.
คนนะ
As village leader, what action will you press any key events this day in Dragon Village? You are alarmed to hear reports of a gang of outlaws around today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers group. Bags of grain in the wheat. Workers group. Workers used. Bags of grain in made. Workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers. Villagers wheat. New basket tortoise. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came passing travelers paid. Gold for. Goods visiting travelers paid a handsome. Gold for just song. Goods food is taken east towards hungry village 5. Some villagers drank far too much beer and spent far too much time looking for missing cheese.
ชาวบ้านบางคนดื่มเบียร์มากเกินไปและใช้เวลาค้นหาชีสที่หายไปมากเกินไป
Rats help themselves too. Song. Grain. Rats help villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be possible because lookouts are almost certain. Outlaws will villagers feel safe from wolves. You have village. You currently have villagers doing some work. You have bags of grain. You have available food. You have gold coin. You have rumors suggest there are around outlaws in the hills. Rumors return to Dragon Village and ski today. F E the village store. F the barley fields. There are currently workers out. There are now there are now There are now C, B, C, the wheat fields. E, D, 3, the marketplace. There are D, there are now D, F, F, 2, there are currently. There are now, you have 114 villagers, and you currently have 113 villagers. There are currently. There are now 21, you have 114 villagers, and you currently have 114 villagers. Are you sure you wish to? Okay, special event. Fiona the Forester turns up at the Green Dragon Tavern.
นี่นะครับถ้าเราอย่างเงี้ยถ้าเรามีคนอยู่ในกรีน
She claims to know where large oak trees can be found in the forest.
โรงเตรียมมังกรเขียวนะครับ
She has tools to cut large beams of oak.
ทำให้เรามีอีเวนต์พิเศษอะไรเงี้ยนะครับซึ่งก็ดีอยู่นะครับ
She would like to join the village community.
ดีมากเลยนะครับอย่างเช่นแม่มดอะไรเงี้ยมันทำให้เรา
Just what is needed to build a house fit for a king.
ว่ามันเขาจะส่งภารกิจมาให้เราแม่มดเลยส่งภารกิจอย่างเช่นตามหาแม่
Not the sort of offer to refuse.
ไล่หนูไปอะไรเงี้ยโคตรดีนะดีมากนะ
Press any key to continue.
ยังไม่ได้นะเพราะว่ามันก็ไม่เครียดอะไรนะรีแลกก็ตามชื่อเลยรีแลกมันจะชิลไปนะ
Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good for crops. Workers grew 16 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers grew 24 bags of grain in the barley. Workers used 55 bags of grain in made 148 loaves of bread in the mill and outlaws broke through the village defenses and stole 15 food, goods and gold. Workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers. Villagers wheat. 3 new basket tortoise. Passing travelers paid. Gold 4 visiting Fiona the Forester joins the village. Perhaps rats help themselves too. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible. Lookouts are almost certain. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible disaster for crops. This forecast is 50% reliable. Lookout villagers feel safe from wolves. You have villager. You currently have you have you have rumors suggest they are around. Outlaws and rumors suggest they are thought to be. Soon wolves return to drag today. Time to instruct your workers. You are at location F. The guardhouse. Today's weather forecast is floods. Your game mission is 2. Build a house for the king. Your game mission is 2. Build a house for the king.
ให้ผมเอ็มนะ
You have villagers, and you currently have F. 3. The barley. There are currently workers F. E. There are currently workers F. E. F. F. The guardhouse. There are currently. There are now. Are you sure you wish? Okay. Special event.
นี่นะอันนี้คือคนของหิน
Tony. He just not the present event.
ใช้หินกับไม้โอ๊คเพื่อสร้างบ้านให้ราชานะ
Workers grew 15 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers grew 16 bags. Floods were held by the dike and workers have saved today's crop of 15 bag workers used bags of grain and made. Guards fought off 16 outlaws, but no outlaws were killed in the attack. Workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers. Villagers wheat. New basket. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young passing travelers paid. Gold 4 visiting travelers paid a handsome. Tony the stonemason joins the village. Perhaps rats help themselves too. Grain. Rats help themselves. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is villagers ate up. Rats village. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which will lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have villager. You currently have you have bags of grain. You have available. You have gold. You have rumors suggest they are around. Rumors suggest they return to dragon today. There are now 0 workers. F. There are currently workers. There are now F. C. There are now 0 workers. E. C. There are currently. There are now D. There are currently workers. There are now C. There are now workers D. E. You have villagers, and you currently have villager D. E. C. The wheat fields. E. E. The D. C. B. A. The hill quarry. A. The road. A. The hill quarry.
A2 เนี่ยก็คือที่เอาไว้ทำที่เอาไว้แบบขุนหิน
A. B. C. D. E. F. The G. The oak forest.
G2 คือโอ๊คคอลเลกหรือว่าที่ตัดไม้นะครับ
F. E. D. C. B. A. The road. A. You have villagers, and you currently have villager. Gold is collected and C. Workers are ready to settle B. Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Special event. You are shocked to learn that your lookouts starts to send hunt as village leader. What action will you take? Press events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good for workers grew. Workers grew. Workers used. Animals at the farm ate. Bags of grain provided. Eggs. Workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers. Villagers wheat. New basket tortoise. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Of your workforce return with. Gold is. Of your workforce return with. Grateful presents from hungry village. This gold is taken west towards greedy city by. Some villagers drank far too much beer and spent far too. Rats help themselves too. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which will lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts are almost certain. Wolves will attack tomorrow. You have villagers. You currently have you have villagers. Look, you have bags of grain. You have you have gold coin. You have goods to sell. Rumors suggest they are around. Rumors return to Dragon Village and start today. C. D. The village store. F. The guardhouse. There are currently workers here. Sorry, there are only workers. There are currently workers here. There are now workers. F. There are currently. There are now E. There are now E. F. There are currently. Sorry, there are only there are currently. There are now workers here. Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Special event.
นี่นะฮะ
A friendly man with a white cloak and a pointy hat shows up in the tavern. He claims to see the future.
อ๋ออันนี้เป็นนักพยากรณ์นะ
You will press events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine. Workers grew. Bags of grain.
นักพยากรณ์ว่าเฮ้ยวันพรุ่งนี้ดีต่อการตกปลาอะไรเงี้ยนะโคตรดีนะอันนี้ดีจัดนะดีเหมือนแม่มดเลยนะ
Workers grew. Bags of grain. Workers used. Bags of grain and made. Animals at the farm ate. Bags of grain and provided. Guards fought off. Wolves and wolves were killed. Workers at the smithy forge. New villagers wheat. New basket. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came of age today. Passing travelers paid. Gold 4. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Gold 4. An oracle moves into the woods. Who knows what? Rats help themselves too. Grain. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which will lookouts are almost certain. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack. You have village. You currently have you have bags of grain. You have available food. You have gold. You have rumors suggest they are around. Rumors suggest they are thought to be. Return to B today. Time to instruct your workers. You are at location F. You have there are currently there are now F. E. D. C. B. A. The oracle's house.
และ A5 นะคือที่ของนักพยากรณ์
There are currently There are now workers here. There are currently workers out of a maximum of in the oracles. You have
122
villagers, and you currently have
122
villagers. Are you sure you wish to end? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which was workers group.
33
Workers group.
36
Workers used.
55
Animals at the farm 8. Bags, guards fought off. Outlaws, but no outlaws were killed in the workers at the smithy forge. New metal village sweet. New basket passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Some villagers drank far too much cider. Oracle tells you many things, but none of them useful. Rats help themselves too. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up.
122
Food is dead. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which will be lookouts are almost certain. Outlaws lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack. You have
122
you currently have
122
villagers doing some work. You have
78
bags of grain. You have
442
you have
78
gold coin. You have
59
goods to sell. Rumors suggest they are around.
48
Rumors suggest they are thought to be.
46
We'll return to Dragon Village and start your new day. It is day. Time to instruct your workers. You are at location A. Are you sure you wish to end the day? Please type Y. Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sun clouds, which workers group.
26
Bags of grain in the workers group.
38
Bags of grain workers used.
45
Animals at the farm 8. Guards fought off. Outlaws and outlaw was killed in the attack. Workers at the smithy forge. New metal village sweet.
3
New passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hand. Of your villagers return with the thugs carry the heads up. Of your villagers return with the gang of armed thugs from Greedy City.
ชาวบ้านของ4คนมาพร้อมกับกลุ่มอันธพาลที่เข้าจาก
Greedy City. Visit the thugs carry the heads up. Outlaw.
พวกอันธพาลเป็นหัวหน้าพวกนักกฎหมาย4คนไม่มีใครเถียงพวกอันธพาลได้นั่นเป็นงานที่ดีและได้เหรียญทอง
หรือว่าเขากลับมาพร้อมกับคนจากเมืองทางตะวันตกนะครับพอมาแล้วมันก็มาพร้อมหัว4หัวของคนนักกฎหมายนะครับถือว่าเป็นการที่ดีสำหรับ8 Go นะครับเขาบอก
Some villagers drank far too much beer instead. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for rats help. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an Oracle
บอกคุณว่าพรุ่งนี้จะเป็นวันที่ดีเยี่ยมในการค้นหาสิ่งของในป่า
Rats help themselves too. Grain. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up.
122
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which will lookouts are sure there will be no outlaws. Lookouts are almost certain.
20
Wolves will attack tomorrow.
20
You have
122
villagers.
วูด
You currently have
118
villagers doing some work.
ขนาดโอ้ย20 วูด
You have 78 bags of grain. You have
467
you have
87
gold coin. You have
63
rumors suggest they are around.
43
Rumors suggest they are thought to be.
43
Return to Dragon Village today. A. The Oracle's house. There are now A. C. B. C. B. A.
3
The road to the west. B.
3
The blacksmith. There are now B. C. C. D. C. The mill and bakery. E. C. The wheat. There are currently
011
There are now C. E. F. There are currently There are F. There are currently
15
There are now
25
You have
122
villagers and you currently have
108
villagers doing F. You have
122
villagers and you currently have B. D. C. The river. B. A. There are currently There are now A. There are currently Sorry. There are only C. Workers available. There are currently There are now C. Workers here. A. There are A. There are currently Sorry. There are currently There are now work A. There are currently There are now work you have
122
villagers and you currently have
122
villagers. Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Special event.
นี่นะครับหมดมาแล้วนะครับโคตรสุดยอดหมดแล้วนะครับ
A young witch called Wanda turns up in the Green Dragon Tavern. What did she say? Some trust? A crow's scene. What can all this mean? Press any key to events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was some workers group.
15
Bags of workers group.
15
Bags of workers used.
50
Bags of grain and made.
150
Animals at the farm ate. Bags of grain and provided.
20
Eggs and workers gathered.
14
Nuts and berries in the woods. Guards fought off.
19
Wolves and
1
wolf was killed. Workers at the smithy forge.
4
New metal workers. Villagers weed. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a big. As a complete passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. A witch moves into the woods. A crow spies up the farmhouse and a cheese goes missing. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for selling goods on the market.
นี่ครับสำหรับขายในมาร์เก็ต
Rats help themselves too. Rats help themselves. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which lookouts are sure there will be no outlaws. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf. You have
542
available food. You have rumors suggest they are around. Rumors suggest they are return to Dragon Village. It is day. A. C. A. The Oracle's house. A. There are now 0 workers. A. B. C. D. D. C. The mill and bakery. E. C. E. E. F. The forest. F. The guard house. There are now 0 workers. E.
2 3
The village store. E. F.
3
The barley fields. There are currently. There are now. E. C. The wheat. There are currently. There are now. You have
123
villagers and you currently have
110
villagers doing D. The marketplace. There are currently. Work. There are now D. There are now 0 workers here. D. D. The Green Dragon Tavern.
ในนี้ไม่สำคัญนะ
D. D. E. The church.
โหดนะครับเอาไว้แบบพระแบบเทพนะครับทำพระเจ้าหรือเทพนะครับคราวนี้เขาก็จะอันนี้ให้นะท่านต้องเรียนนะครับไม่รู้อ่ะอันนี้ก็จะเราก็จะได้ของครับอย่างเช่นแบบบางทีเราจะได้เจมหรือว่าอื่นๆนะ
D. E. F. G. 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 C. The woods.
ส่วน
G. F. The barley field. F. C. The dike. G. C. G. 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 The witch's hut. G. C. The wood. G. G. F. F. C. The dike. F. E. D. C. 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 D. E. F. G. G. There are currently. There are now workers here. You have
123
villagers and you currently have villagers doing some work. There are currently workers here. The maximum of There are now F. E. D. C. B. A. A. There are now B. C. D. The bridge to the south. There are currently
0
Sorry. There are only workers. There are currently
0 work
gold and goods are collected and there are currently workers. There are still. Are you sure you wish? Okay. Special event. Late in the evening, another herald arrives from the king. Stand the king. First, second, third. You dismiss. You want first event.
นี่เหมือนเดิมนะครับ
Today's weather was sunshine, which was workers group.
32
Bags of workers group.
36
Workers used.
52
Animals at the farm ate. Bags of grain and provided.
18
Eggs at workers at the smithy forge.
C.
New metal villagers wheat. New basket. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came of age today. Passing travelers paid.
22
Gold for. Goods at the marketplace.
จริงๆด้วย
Visiting travelers paid a handsome.
3
Gold for just
1
goods at the gold and goods. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for cheesemakers.
ชีสเมเกอร์ดี
Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for Wanda. Rats help themselves too. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up.
130
Rats help themselves too. Food.
เฮ้ย
Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be lookouts are sure there will be no outlaws. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf. You have
124
villagers. You currently have
120
villagers. You have
53
bags of grain. You have
581
you have
110
you have
53
bags of grain. You have
115
gold. You have
59
goods to sell. Rumors suggest they are around.
40
Outlaws. Rumors suggest they are thought to be.
45
Return to it today. C. B. A. The oracles. There are currently workers out of a maximum of in the B. C. D. E. F. G. G. There are currently workers here. There are now workers
เรา
here.
ต้องเควสเราต้องได้เควส
You have
124
villagers, and you currently have
124
villagers doing some
เคว
work.
สแมวนะเพราะว่า ายไปแล้วตรงวินเลจนั้นเราก็จะได้คนมาเพิ่ม10 คนนะ
Are you sure you wish? Okay. Special event. Villagers are pleased to find many rats have died, but except as of this is press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. The plague release.
3
เริ่มนะครับไอ้ป่วยนะ
What? The plague release.
3
Tortured souls today and a few workers went off sick. So what? Today's weather was what madness.
2
Villagers threw themselves into the dike today and a few what? Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. Workers grew.
38
Bags of grain in the wheat. Workers used.
47
Bags of animals at the farm ate. Workers at the smithy forged. New metal goods. Villagers weaved.
2
A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a passing travelers paid. Gold visiting travelers paid a handsome. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing barley. Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for Wanda. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up.
126
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible disaster for crops. This forecast is.
75
Lookouts forecast there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts forecast there will be no wolf attack tomorrow. You have.
120
Rumors suggest it. Return to Dragon. It is A, B, D, C, B. The A. The oracles are A, C, B, C. There are B, B. There are now C. The village cottages. There are currently workers here. There are now B. There are now C. The building clock. C. The farmhouse. There are currently workers here. The maximum. There are now D. There are now workers. There are currently. There are now E. C. There are currently workers here.
01
There are now E. F. There are currently. There are now F. E. D. C. B. A. There are now B. C. D. E. 2 The church. F. There are currently sorry. There are E. D. There are currently there are D. C. F. There are currently sorry. There are only workers. There are currently
0
There are now F.
3
The barley fields.
การไม่ดีก็แก้
There are currently workers out of the maximum. F. There are currently workers here. There are still G. There are now 0 workers. F. C. The dike. There are currently sorry. There are you have
120
village. There are currently workers here. The maximum. There are still you have
120
villagers, and you currently have
120
villagers. F. There are now 0 workers. F. There are currently there are now workers here. You have
120
villagers, and you currently have
112
villagers doing some work.
28
F. There are currently workers here. The maximum. There are now workers here. F. There are now workers here. There are now E. There are now E. F. There are currently workers here. The there are now you have
120
villagers, and you currently have
117
villagers doing some work. There are currently there are now you have
120
villagers, and you currently have
120
villagers doing some work. Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. You are dismayed to hear another. The outlaws have arrived in the hills. Today's weather was floods, which was a possible disaster for crops.
เพราะว่ามีคนมาเพิ่มในนั่นตรงฮิลอีก10 คนนะ
Workers grew.
18
Bags of grain in the workers grew.
36
Bags of grain and floods were held by the dike, and workers have saved today's crop of
18
bags of wheat and
36
bags of barley. Workers used.
45
Animals at the farm ate. Bags of workers at the smithy forged. New villagers weaved. New bags of a couple of villagers took some time off work to make as a passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for forging metalware. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is some clouds, which lookouts are almost certain. Lookouts are almost certain. Wolves will attack. You have.
121
You currently have.
120
You have.
62
You have.
611
You have.
130
You have.
62
Goods to sell.
แค่ตอนนี้เรื่องอาหารไม่ได้จำเป็นอะไรขนาดนั้นมี600 วันอยู่เดือน6 วันนะครับ4 5 6 วันนะเพราะว่าคนมีอยู่120 คนอ่ะ
Rumors suggest there are around. Outlaws and rumors suggest they are thought to be. Return to Dragon Village. It is day. F. The guard F.
3
There are currently. There are now F. C. There are now F. E. There are currently workers here. The maximum. There are still. There are currently. There are now E. There are currently. There are E. E. F. There are now. There are now. You have
120
villagers, and you currently have
108
villagers doing some work. F. E. D. C. B. A. The hills. A. The hill. A.
3
There are currently workers here. The maximum of this location is.
20
Gold is collected and workers are ready to. You have
120
villagers, and you currently have
118
villagers doing some A. B. C. D. E. F. G.
3
The G.
3
The road to the E. There are now
3
F. E. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was some clouds, which was okay for crops. Workers grew. Bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers used. Animals at the farm ate. Guards fought off. Outlaws and outlaws were killed in the attack. Guards fought off. Wolves and workers at the smithy forged. New villagers weaved. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travel. Food is taken eastward. Gold is taken west towards. Your villagers return to the king's own hunting party from Monarch City. The horsemen and archers make short work of. Wolves. Let's hope the king was pleased with. Gold and goods. Oracle tells you many things, but none of them useful. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible disaster. Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts are almost certain. Wolves will attack tomorrow. You have villagers. You currently have villagers doing some. You have available. You have gold coins. You have goods to sell. Rumors suggest there are around. Rumors return to Dragon Village and it is day. D. The marketplace. D. The bridge to the E. The river. E. The wheat fields. F. The dike. There are currently workers out. There are now 0 E. The wheat field. There are now 0 workers here. You have available food, and you have bags of grain. E. F. There are now 0 E. D. The milk. There are currently workers here. The maximum. There are still E. The river. D. The bridge to the There are currently gold and you have gold coins, and you have goods to sell. D. You have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work. D. E. F. G. The forest. G. The oak. G. F. G. F. E. F. The barley field. There are currently workers. F. There are currently workers out of the maximum of in the guard. F. There are currently sorry. The maximum workers here is there are currently there are now you have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work. F. G. The oak forest. There are F. E. D. C. B. A. The hill quarry. There are currently there are now you have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work. You have villagers, and you currently have There are currently workers out. There are currently there are now A. C. D. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was floods, which was a possible disaster. Floods broke through the dike and have ruined. Workers used bags of grain and made. Animals at the farm ate. Bags of grain and provide. Guards fought off. Wolves and wolf was killed in the attack. Armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest and wolves were killed in the attack. Unfortunately, villager went missing in the forest, presumed eaten. Workers at the smithy forged. New villagers weaved. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid. Gold and Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing wheat. Workers at the quarry carved out large blocks of stone. Workers in the oak forest cut lumber and made. Rats help themselves too. Food. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible disaster. Lookouts are almost certain. Outlaws will attack tomorrow. Lookouts are almost certain. Wolves will attack tomorrow. You have 120 villagers. You currently have 120 villagers. You have 0 bags of you have 120 villagers. You currently have 120 villagers. You have 598 you have 120 you have 58 you have 1 you have 1 rumors suggest they are around. Outlook rumors suggest they are thought to be 35 wolves in the forest.
วิดวุด
Return to Dragon Village and start your day. Time to instruct. Are you sure you okay? Events this day in Dragon Village. You are dismayed to hear another. Wolves have arrived in the forest. Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops.
โอ้
Workers used 0 bags of grain and made 0 animals at the farm made 0 bags of guards fought off. Outlaws and guards fought off. Wolves but no wolves were killed in the attack. Armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest. Wolves were killed in the attack. Unfortunately, 1 villager went missing in the forest, presumed eaten. Workers at the smithy forge. New villagers weaved. 3 new passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for hunting outlaws. Workers at the quarry carved out 1 large blocks of stone.
พวกนี้ดี
Workers in the rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which will be lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts are sure there will be no. You currently have villagers. You have 0 bags of grain. You have 418 available food. You have gold coins. You have you have 2 stone. You have 2 oak. Rumors suggest they are around. Outlaws in the hills. Rumors suggest they are thought to be. Wolves return to Dragon Village and it is the road to the north. C. There are now 0 workers. D. There are now 0 E. The church. There are now 0 workers. F. There are now 0 F. There are currently 0 workers here. There are now E. There are currently 6 workers. There are now E. There are currently. Sorry, there are only 6 workers. There are currently. There are now D. 6 B. A. There are currently 6 workers. There are now A. B. C. The wheat. 6. There are currently workers. D. There are currently 6 workers out of the max. There are now E. C. The wheat fields. There are currently 6. Sorry, there are only 6 workers available. There are still 6. There are currently. There are now 6 F. There are currently 0 worker E. The river. F. There are currently 0 E. D. 6 B. A. There are currently 0 A. B. 6 D. F. E. D. 6 B. A. The hills. A. The hill quarry. There are now 0 workers. B. C. E. F. G. There are now 0 workers. F. E. D. C. The mill and bakery. E. C. There are currently 6. There are now D. There are currently. There are now you have villagers and you currently have D. C. There are currently 0 workers. D. There are currently workers out of the maximum of in the market. D. The Green Dragon Tavern. C. There are currently workers out of the C. D. C. The bridge to the south. D. C. There are currently workers here. The maximum of dislocated terrace. D. There are currently workers. Sorry, there are only there are currently workers here. There are. Are you sure? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good for crops. Workers grew bags of grain in the wheat fields.
โอ้โหฟัง
Workers grew bags of grain in the barley fields.
แต่ว่าผมก็เล่นแบบชินมืออะก็ต้องพยายามชนะนะเมื่อกี้ก็แพ้
Workers used 36 bags of grain and made animals at the farm made. Workers at the smithy forge. New metal villagers weaved. C. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Of your workforce. Of your villagers. Of your workforce return with. Grateful presents from Hungry Village. Of your villagers return with a gang of armed thugs from Greedy City. The thugs carry the heads off. Outlaws. Nobody will argue with those thugs. That's a fair day's work for. Oracle tells you the thugs carry the heads off. Outlaws. Nobody will argue with those thugs. That's a fair day's work for. Gold. The Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for baking bread. Rats help themselves too. Grain. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be possible. Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf. You have. You currently have. Village. You have. You have. You have. You have. You have. Oak. Rumors suggest they are around. Rumors suggest they return to Dragon Village and start your. It is day. E. C. The wheat fields. There are currently. There are now E. F. There are now F. There are currently. There are now 6 workers. You have. Villagers. And you currently have. Village E. D. There are currently. Workers. There are now 6 C. There are currently. There are now 6 workers. You have. Villagers. And you currently have. Villagers doing some work. C. The building block. D. The mark. There are currently. There are now you have villagers and you currently have villagers doing some work. D. There are currently. There are still E. There are currently. There are now workers here.
ได้ความโปรดปรานจาก
D. Are you sure you would? Okay. Special event. It's the merchant village. Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. A river merchant arrives from Greedy City. Today's weather was floods, which was a possible disaster. Workers grew. Bags of workers. Floods were held by the Dyken workers. Workers used. Bags of grain and made. Loaves of bread in the mill and bakery.
อุ้ยดีจริงๆนะ
Animals at the farm made. Workers at the smithy forge. C. New villagers weaved. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Other villagers return with the king's own hunting party from Monarch City. The horsemen and archers make short work of wolves. Let's hope the king was pleased with. Gold hand. With prayers were listened to by the gods, but the gods were a little busy today. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for baking bread. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which lookouts are almost certain. Outlaws will attack tomorrow. Lookouts are almost certain. Wolves will attack tomorrow. You have. You currently have. Villagers. You have. Bags of grain. You have. You have. Gold coins. You have. To sell. You have. Stone block. You have. Oak wood beams. Rumors suggest they are around. Outlaws in the hill. Rumors suggest they are thought to be. Wolves in the return to Dragon Village. It is D. C. The river B. The river merchant. You have. Gold coins. Merchant. Short bows for more deadly. Long swords for more effective outlaw hunts. You hand over. You hand over. Long bows for watchtower defenders. Gold. It is day. You have. Gold coins. Merchandise. Drought resistant wheat. Gold. Long stage for guard. C. Long bows for watchtower defenders. Gold. Long stage for guardhouse defenders. Gold. You hand over. Gold. C. Short bows. Gold already purchased. Long swords. Return to Dragonville. C. Drop total. Quick growing barley seeds. Gold. Loom for the new forge for the blacksmith. Gold. Premium farm chickens. Gold. New millstone. Gold. Rat traps. Gold. Prayer books. Gold. Superior fishing rods. Gold. Attractive new market stalls. Gold. Wooden oak beams. Gold. Stone blocks. Gold. Bags of grain. Gold. Bags of grain. Gold. Jesus. Gold. Orphan babies. Green gem. Bags of grain. Gold. You hand over. Gold for. It is day. You have. Available food. And you have. You have. Villagers. You have. Villagers. And you currently have. B. C. D. The Green Dragon. T. The church. There are currently. F. There are currently. Workers out of the map. There are currently. Sorry. There are only. F. E. There are now 0 E. The G. The road to the east. Today's weather forecast is sun clouds, which will today's weather G. F. D. The village. F. The barley fields. F. There are now 0 work. F. There are currently. Workers here. The maximum. There are now. F. C. The F. E. There are currently. There are now. Workers here. E. The village. E. F. There are currently. There are now. Workers. You have. Villagers. And you currently have. Villagers doing some work. F. The forest. F. The guardhouse. E. The church. There are currently. Sorry. There are only. Workers available. There are currently. Workers here. The maximum of this location is. There are now. Workers. Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. You bought. Wicked looking long swords for. Gold. You bought. Handy looking short was 4. 50 gold. You bought. 20. Hefty looking long stays 4. 50. You bought. 20. Today's weather was some clouds, which was okay for crops.
ผมซื้อวุ้นมาแล้วนะครับก็ไม่แน่ใจว่าจะลาได้ขนาดไหนครับแต่ว่าผมซื้อมาแล้ว
Workers group. 21. Bags of grain in the wheat. Workers group. 60. Workers used. 52. Animals at the farm 8. Bags. Workers used. 52. Bags of grain in mate. 280. Loaves of bread in the mill and bakery.
สวยนะครับ
Workers. Animals at the farm 8. Guards fought off. 24. Outlaws and 2. Outlaws were killed in the attack. One dead outlaw had most of his head missing.
นี่นะครับผมว่าอะไรมีลูกศรติด
อาชญากรที่เสียชีวิตคนหนึ่งมีศีรษะส่วนใหญ่หายไป
อ๋อโอ้โห
Guards fought off. 20. Wolves and 1. Wolf was killed in the attack. The unlucky wolf had most of its head missing.
เนี่ย
หมาป่าผู้โชคร้ายมีวัวหายไปเกือบหมด
Workers at the smithy forge. C. New metal workers. Villagers wheat. 3. New basket
สวย
tortoise.
นะครับมีอาวุธแล้วก็จากกัน
A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, passing travelers paid. Gold 4. 6. Visiting travelers paid a handsome prayer seemed to be answered when a small red ruby is found in the marketplace.
อ๋อสวยนะครับได้ดู
Oracle tells you many things, but none of them useful. Rats help themselves too. Rats help themselves. Villagers ate up.
115
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is some clouds, which will be okay. Lookouts are almost certain.
19
Outlaws lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack tomorrow. You have
122
villagers. You currently have
121
villager. You have
66
bags. You have
833
avail. You have 11 gold coin. You have
57
goods to sell. You have
1
root. You have
2
you have 2. Rumors suggest there are around. Rumors suggest they are thought to be
34
what return to it is day. E. The river F. The river G. The wit F. E. D. C. The river merchant. Merchandise for sale. Ring of charm. Return to Dragon Village and continue. Ring of charm. Red rubies. Staff of cunning. Green gems. Partial cure for pots of madness. 2 red partial cure for the plague. 2 green gems. 1 book of dragon lore. 2 red rubies. 1 book of advanced village management. 2 green
ที่
gems.
สำคัญนะครับ
1 book of dragon lore. 2
Book of Dragon เนี่ย
1 book of advanced village management. 2 Oracle Owl gets its instrument out for the menu sounds. 1 book of advanced village management. 2 green gems. Menu sounds courtesy of which wand up. Standard use of the numeric. 1 wolf poison. 1 red ruby. 2 orphan babies. 1 green gem. 1 book of advanced village management. 1 wolf poison. 1 red ruby. 20 cheeses. 6 gold. 20 bags of grain. 20 stone blocks. 20 wooden oak beam. 10 attractive new market stalls. 10 gold. 10 superior fishing rods. 30 gold. 10 cheeses. 2 orphan babies. 1 green gem. 1 wolf poison. 1 wolf you hand over. 1 small it is day.
22
Time to instruct your workers. You are at location C. You have
122
villagers, and you currently have
121
villagers doing some work. C. The wheat fields. There are currently 6 workers out. D. There are currently 6 workers. C. There are currently 6 workers out of the maximum of 6 in the farmhouse. D. The mark. There are currently 6 workers. D. F. There are currently
25
workers out of E. There are currently 8 workers. There are currently 8. There are. Are you sure you would please press Y or N for yes or no? Okay. Events list. The torture remains of. You traded a red ruby for a bag of wolf poison. You traded. The torture remains of. Today the torture remains of. Dead wolves are found at the edge of the forest.
นี่นะ
The torture remains of.
สวยเวลาได้หัด
Today's weather was some clouds, which was okay for crops. Today workers group.
19
Bags of grain in the workers group.
21
Bags of grain in the workers used.
ยังเลย
Animals at the farm 8. Bags of grain and provide guards fought off.
18
Outlaws and the guards fought off.
18
Outlaws and outlaw was killed in the attack. The unlucky outlaw had most of his head missing.
เนี่ยหาย
อาชญากรผู้โชคร้ายมีศีรษะส่วนใหญ่หายไป
Workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers. Villagers wheat. New basket tortoise.
ไว้สร้างเสียงลูก
A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came of age today. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hands. Prayer seemed to be answered when gold was found on a gravestone.
อืม
Oracle Owl tells you many things, but none of them useful. Rats help themselves too. Rats help themselves too. Villagers ate up.
129
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible. Lookouts are almost certain. Outlaws lookouts are almost certain.
23
Wolves will attack tomorrow. You have
123
villagers. You currently have
122
you have
42
bags of grain. You have
900
available food. You have
26
gold coins. You have
59
goods to sell. You have stone block. You have
2
rumors suggest they are around.
39
Outlaws and rumors suggest they are thought to be
28
wolves. Return to Dragon Village. It is day.
23
Time to instruct your workers. You are at location 2. The church. Today's weather forecast is floods.
ไล่ได้เป็นปีแล้ว
E. The village store.
อย่างนี้
F. The barley fields. There are now 0 worker. C. The wheat fields. There are now 0 work. F. There are currently F. 2 E. The church. There are currently there are now 6 work. F. E. The river merchant. D. C. The river. C.
3
The building clock. D. The blacksmith. There are currently worker. There are now you have
123
villagers, and you currently have
108
villagers doing some work. C. The mill and bakery. D. The bridge to the south. E. The river merchant. You have
26
gold coins, and you have
59
goods to sell.
พรุ่งนี้ต้องขายให้ได้เยอะอะไม่งั้น
D. C. B. A. There are currently there are now B. C. D. E. F. The river. There are currently there are G. There are currently there are now you have
123
villagers, and you currently have
123
village. You have
123
Are you sure you wish? Okay. Special event. Some villagers work on jobs for the witch.
นี่นะครับเป็นไงล่ะ
Wanda looks rather distracted bringing out some tea and biscuits and cheese. You know that nasty plague, said Wanda. It's so not cool, so I'm relaxed. If I had some special herbs, I could do something about it. Somebody kind could go look for some of those herbs for me. You have a new quest. Find some special herbs for Wanda to press any key to events list.
หาผลไม้นี่ผลไม้นี่สมุนไพรมาได้นะครับ อันนี้คือดีนะครับ ถ้าเราหาสมุนไพรได้นะครับโรคที่ฆ่าชีวิตของคนในหมู่บ้านเรานะครับจะหายนะครับ อันนี้ดีมากเลยเราต้องหาในป่าตรงแถบ C นะครับแถบ G4 กับ A4
It's 6 o'clock. 30 minutes and 0 seconds. Floods broke through the dike and have ruined today's crop of 0 bags of wheat and workers used
42
bags of grain and mate
119
animals at the farm 8 0 bags of grain guards fought off
17
outlaws and
3
outlaws were killed. One dead outlaw had most of his head missing. Guards fought off
23
wolves and 2 wolves were killed in the attack. One dead wolf had a big dent in its head.
หมาป่าที่ตายแล้วตัวนึงมีรอยบุ๋มขนาดใหญ่ที่หัว
Workers at the smithy forge 8 new metal workers. Villagers wheat
3
new basket tortoise. Passing travelers paid
14
gold 4
13
goods visiting travelers paid a handsome
2
gold for just prayer seemed to be answered when
20
eggs were found at the village store. Oracle Owl tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing barley. Somebody needs to find some special herbs for Wanda the witch. Rats help themselves too.
19
Food. Villagers ate up.
116
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy. Lookouts are almost certain.
17
Outlaws with lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack. You have
123
village. You currently have
123
villagers. You have
0
bags of you have
904
available food. You have
42
gold coins. You have
56
goods to sell. You have
42
gold coins. You have
904
available food. You have
56
goods to sell. You have stone block. You have rumors suggest they are around.
36
Rumors suggest they are thought to be
25
return to it is day. G. The witch's hut. There are now 0 F E D C B A Your A. There are now B the river C D E F the river merchandise for C short bows 50 gold already purchased. C longbows for watchtower defenders C 20 long staves C gold already purchased. Drought resistant wheat 30 gold. Total weather resistant drought C longbows for watchtower defenders C gold. You hand over C gold for C it is day C time to instruct your workers. You are at location F you have 123 villagers and you currently have F E C the flooded fields F G G C there are currently there are now C you have 123 villagers and you currently have village F E D C B C the weaver station A C the woods there are currently C workers out of them B C the farmhouse C the river. You have 123 villagers and you currently have villagers doing some work. There are now. Are you sure you wish to end? Okay. Special event. Workers gathering food in the woods also found some special herbs for Wanda. Which Wanda was a happy witch this day? No. You have events this day in Dragon Village. You bought C well-crafted longbow to plague release. C tortured souls today and a few workers went off sick. So check all your buildings. You bought C well-crafted longbows for C gold. Return to you bought the plague release. C tortured.
วันนี้โรคระบาดได้ปล่อยวิญญาณที่ถูกทรมาน4ดวงและมีคนนั้นไม่กี่คนที่ล้มป่วยดังนั้นโปรดตรวจสอบอาการทั้งหมดของคุณ
What madness? 3 villagers threw themselves.
บ้าอะไรวันนี้ชาวบ้าน3 คนพากันลงไปในเขื่อนและมีคนงาน2 3 คนหยุดทำงานดังนั้นโปรดตรวจสอบอาการทั้งหมดของคุณ
Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. Some villagers collecting nuts and berries also found some special herbs for Wanda. Workers used 0 some villagers collecting nuts.
ชาวบ้านบางคนที่เก็บถั่วและผลเบอร์รี่ยังพกสมุนไพรพิเศษสำหรับแบรนด์ได้ด้วย
Workers animals at the farm ate 0 bags of grain and provided. Workers caught 2 fish on the river. Tragically, one careless fisherman fell in the river and drowned.
แต่กันเบียร์แล้วนะโคตรเกลียดเลยเนี่ยซึ่งมันก็นะ
Workers gathered nuts and berries in the guards fought off. Outlaws and outlaws were one dead outlaw had most of his head missing. One retreating outlaw was found with an arrow in his back.
นี่ฮะเขามีอร่อยให้เรา
พบผู้ร้ายคนหนึ่งกำลังล่าถอยโดยมีลูกศรอยู่ที่หลัง
Workers at the smithy forge. New metal goods. Villagers weaved. 3 new a couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came of age. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Prayers seemed to be answered when 17 bags of barley were found on the edge of the fields. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for catching fish. Rats help themselves too. Rats help themselves too.
26
Villagers ate up.
127
Food this day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be lookout's estimate.
23
Outlaws with lookout's estimate.
14
You have
116
village. You currently have
106
villagers do. You have
16
bags of grain. You have
762
you have
18
gold. You have
56
you have 2 stone. You have
2
rumors suggest there are around
29
outlaws in the hills. Rumors suggest they are thought to be
26
what return to dragon today. B A the oracle A there are now A B 3 the blacksmith. B there are B there are now B C there are B C 2 the there are currently there are now C 3 the building plot D 3 the marketplace there are now D 2 the green dragon tavern E there are now D C 4 C the mill and bakery E C the wheat fields E 3 the village store there are currently there are now F 2 there are currently
24
there are now work you have
116
villagers and you currently have
94
villagers doing some work E D C A B the river A there are currently workers there are now 0 workers A there are currently 0 workers here the maximum of this location is how many workers there are now B A B C D C the wheat fields there are currently
0
there are now E F there are currently there are now C work you have
116
villagers and you currently have
112
villagers E 2 the church there are currently workers here the maximum there are now you have
116
villagers and you currently have
116
villagers doing some are you sure you okay events this day in dragon today's weather was floods which was impossible to workers grew 15 bags of grain in the wheat fields
อ้าวเฮ้ยแฟนฟัดเฉยเลย
workers grew
26
bags floods broke through the dike and had workers used
16
bags of grain and made animals at the farm ate
0
bags of workers used
16
bags of grain and made
50
loaves of work animals at the farm ate guards fought off
23
outlaws one dead outlaw had most of his head missing one retreating outlaw was found with an arrow in his guards fought off wolf's hand one dead wolf had a big dent in its head one retreating wolf was found with an arrow in its neck workers at the smithy forge new metal goods
นี่ขอ
villagers weaved new basket work one retreating wolf was found with an arrow in its neck
พอปะใช่ละ
พบหมาป่าหอยตัวหนึงมีลูกศรอยู่ที่คอ
workers at the villagers weaved new basket work passing travelers paid visiting travelers paid a handsome prayers seemed to be answered when a small red ruby is found outside the green dragon tavern
สวยเลยบี
Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for hunting wolves. Rats help themselves too. Food. Villagers ate up.
116
Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for crops. This work lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts are almost certain. Wolves will attack. You have
116
villagers. You currently have villagers doing some. You have
0
bags of you have
116
village lookout. You have
2
stone block. You have rumors suggest they return to dragon village. It is day. E the river. E C E F
3
the F 2 F there are currently
0
there are now C F you have
116
villagers and you currently have
116
villagers doing some work. G there are currently there are now C workers. You have
116
villagers and you currently have
116
villagers doing some work. Are you sure you okay? Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers used
0
bags of grain and made
0
loaves of animals at the farm ate
0
guards fought off
12
wolf's hand
2
one dead wolf had a big dent in its head one retreating wolf was found with an arrow in its neck armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest and they shortened the lives of
C
wolves. Workers at the smithy forge
C
new metal goods villagers weaved new basket a couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager passing travelers paid visiting travelers paid a handsome prayers were listened to by the gods, but the gods were a little busy today. Oracle tells you many things, but none of them. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with one of the witch. Rats help themselves too.
13
Food. Villagers ate up.
116
Food this day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which will be lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf. You have
117
villagers. You currently have
116
you have
0
bags of you have
556
you have
38
gold coat. You have
556
available. You have
0
you have
61
goods to sell. You have
2
rumors suggest they are around. Rumors return to drive. It is day. F the river. E the river. D C the B the A the oracle's house. There are currently work. There are now B C D E F G there are now F E D D
1 E 1
there are now 0 E
3
the village store. F
3
the bar E there are currently there are now E F there are now F F there are currently 0 workers here. The maximum of this there are currently there are now E there are currently there are now workers. You have
117
villagers and you currently have
115
villagers doing some work. E F G there are now work. Are you sure you okay? Special event. Some villagers work on jobs for the witch. One house, but most of all I miss my cat called Dignity. Somebody kind could go live for my cat. You have a new quest. Find a cat called Dignity for one of the witch.
อันนี้หาแมวนะครับซึ่งก็น่าจะผมไม่รู้ว่าอยู่ที่ไหนนะ
Press any key to
อ
continue.
ยู่ในจะไม่ผิดอยู่ในถ้าจะไม่ผิดอยู่ในตรงท ที่มันมีหนูอะไออะไรวะวิลเลจสโตร์อะนั่นแหละครับถ้ายังไม่ผิดนะผมไม่แน่ใจเหมือนกันแต่ว่าแนวสำคัญนะทำให้เราไม่มีหนูนะซึ่งอันนี้ก็จะทำให้มีชาวบ้านเพิ่มขึ้น10 คนเลย
Events to stay in Dragon Village. Workers group. Sounds 8 bags of grain. Workers use. Animals at the farm 8. Out. Workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers. Animals at the farm 8. Out. Workers use. 48 bags of grain and make. 148. Work villagers leave. New past. Some villagers took time off work to make. Song. New babies. As a complete passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hand. Prayers seem to be answered when. Song. Jesus were found suspiciously at the Green Dragon Tavern. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for finding things in the woods. Somebody needs to find a cat called Dignity. For one of the store workers predict. Somebody needs to find a cat called Dignity. For one of the witch. Store workers prevented rats from eating any grain.
ใครบางคนจำเป็นต้องหาน้ำที่เรียกว่าศักดิ์ศรีสำหรับแมวแวนด้า
Rats help themselves too.
14
Food. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is. Lookouts are sure there will be no up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be impossible to villagers ate up.
124
Food is day. Tomorrow look up. You have.
119
You currently have.
117
Villager. You have.
119
Villagers. You currently have.
117
Villagers doing some. You have.
3
Bags of grain. You have.
623
You have.
48
Gold. You have.
63
Goods to sell. You have.
1
Rubies. You have. Stone blocks. You have.
2
Rumors suggest they are around.
38
Rumors suggest they are thought to be.
16
Wilson returns. It is F. F. C. The dike. There are now 0 E. There are now 0 work E. F. There are now 0 workers here. Reports suggest they are around.
38
Outlaws in the hills. Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. Lookouts are almost certain.
18
Wolves will attack tomorrow. F. There are currently. There are now.
25
Work. You have.
119
Villagers. And you currently have.
102
Villagers doing some work. F. 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 G. 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 There are now. G. There are currently.
0
There are F. E. D. C. C. The river. D. The bridge to the south. There are currently. Workers here.
10
Gold hand. You have.
119
Villagers. And you currently have.
106
Villagers. You have.
119
Villager. You have.
119
Villagers. And you currently have.
106
Village. E. F. The river. E. The river. D. C. B. A. 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 A.
2
The hill quarry. A.
3
The road to the A. There are currently.
20
Gold. You have.
119
Villagers. And you currently have.
116
Villagers doing some work. A.
C
The woods. B. The Weaver Station. B. The river. B. There are B. There are now B.
3
B. C. D. 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 The Green Dragon Tavern. E. There are currently. Workers out. There are currently. There are now. E. 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 The river. E. E.
3
The village store. There are currently. Work D. There are currently. Workers out. You have.
119
Villagers. And you currently have.
117
Villagers doing some work. There are currently. Workers. There are now. Are you sure you? Okay. Special event. Workers on the market served an unusual customer today.
นี่อ๋อมันอยู่ในมาร์เก็ตนะครับมาร์เก็ต
Dignity cat has been found. Which wonder was a happy witch this day? Come to the village store Dignity. Magically, from this day, rats at the store lost their appetites.
นี่อยู่ในตลาด
You have completed this quest. Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. You are dismayed to hear today's weather was floods. Which somebody working on the market took floods broke through the dike and have ruined. Somebody working on the market took time off to serve a cat called Dignity. Did some flood workers use
3
bags of grain and made
8
loaves of bread? Animals at the farm ate.
0
Guards fought off.
18
Wolves and one dead wolf had a big dent in its head. One retreating wolf was found with workers at the smithy forge. New metal workers. Villagers weaved. New basket workers. Passing travelers paid. Gold for visiting travelers paid a handsome.
2
Gold for just
20
gold is taken west towards greedy city by. Gold hand. Goods are taken south towards prayers seem to be answered when
28
eggs were found near the farmhouse. Oracle tells you many things, but none of them useful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food or grain. Villagers ate up.
107
Food is day.
โอเคอย่างนี้ก็ไม่มีหนูสามารถกินได้
Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which will lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf. You have
119
villagers.
สวยนะแล้วมันปลูกไม่
You currently have
119
villagers. You have
0
bags of grain. You have
545
available. You have
27
you have
55
goods. You have
1
rubies. You have
2
you have rumors suggest they are around. Rumors suggest they are thought to be
21
Wilson return to Dragon. It is day. D.
C
The mill and bakery. E.
C
The flooded field. E.
3
The village store. E. F.
2
The guardhouse.
On your toes.
Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack. There are currently
25
workers. There are now 0 workers here.
คงจะต้องล่า
F. There are currently. There are now E. D. C. There are currently. There are now workers here. You have
119
villagers, and you currently have
114
villagers. D. D.
2
The great D. C.
3
The building block. D.
3
The marketplace. There are currently. There are now. You have
119
villagers, and you currently have
117
villagers doing some work. D.
2
The Green Dragon Tavern. D.
3
The marketplace. C.
3
The blocks. There are currently workers out of C. There are currently workers out of the map. C. B. There are currently workers. There are now. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which workers used
0
bags of grain and made. Animals at the farm ate. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills and their long swords made short work of outlaws. Armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest and their short bows shortened the lives of
3
wolves. Unfortunately, villager went missing in the forest. Workers at the smithy forge. New villagers weaved. New basket. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, passing travelers paid. Gold for visiting travelers paid a handsome. Prayers seem to be answered when
18
bags of barley were found on the edge of the field. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for hunting outlaws. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food or grain.
คนนี้ดีทางการล่านะครับ
Villagers ate up.
119
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts are sure there will be no wolf attack. You have
119
villagers. You currently have
118
village. You have
18
bags of grain. You have
426
available. You have
48
gold coins. You have
51
goods to sell. You have
1
rubies. You have
2
you have
2
rumors suggest they are around.
32
Rumors suggest they are thought to be
20
wolf return to D. B. 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 C. D. E.
1
The forest. There are you have
119
villagers, and you currently have
119
villagers. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was floods, which was floods broke. Workers used
18
bags of grain and made
58
loaves. Animals at the farm ate.
0
Armed. Unfortunately, villager went missing in the hills. Presumed that armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills and their long swords made short work of outlaws. Armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest and their short bows shortened the lives of wolves. Unfortunately, villager went missing. Workers at the smithy forge. New metal villagers weaved.
3
New basket. A couple of villagers took some time off work to make it. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came of age. Passing travelers paid. Gold for visiting travelers paid a handsome. Prayers seem to be answered when
18
bags of wheat were found close to the road. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for hunting outlaws. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food or grain. Villagers ate up.
118
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which will be lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack. Lookouts are almost certain. Wolves will attack. You have
118
villagers. You currently have
117
villagers. You have
18
bags of grain. You have
300
you have
56
gold coin. You have
359
available food. You have
56
gold coins. You have
51
goods to sell. You have
1
rubies. You have
2
stone blocks. You have
2
oak wood. Rumors suggest they are around.
26
Outlaws and rumors suggest they are thought to be wolves in the return to Dragon. It is day. E. 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 The river. F. The river. E. D. C. B. The river. C. The river merchant. D. C. Merchandise for sale. Long swords.
20
Long stakes. Gold already purchased. Drought resistant wheat.
30
Total weather resistant wheat.
60
Gold. Quick growing barley seeds.
60
Gold. Loom for the cottage workers.
30
Gold. Double beds for the cottage workers.
30
Gold. You hand over. New forge for the blacksmith.
40
Gold. Premium farm chickens.
30
New millstone. Gold. Rat traps.
20
Gold. 10 prayer books, 40 gold. 10 superior fishing rods, 30 gold. 10 attractive new market stalls, 40 gold. 20 wooden oak beams, 60 gold. 20 stone blocks, 60 gold. 20 bags of grain, 10 gold. 20 cheeses, 10 gold. 2 orphan babies, 1 green gem, 1 wolf poison, 1 red you hand over, 1 small red ruby for eat a day. 30 you have 20 gold coins, and you have 50 goods to sell. You have 0 gems and 0 root C, 6 D, 1 the road to the north. E, there are now 0 E, 3 the village store. There are currently 6 workers out of the maximum of 6 in the you have 118 villagers, and you currently have there are now 0 workers who have 3 the fluff F, song, the guard, there are sorry, there are only 20 workers available. There are still 0 there are currently there are now E, D, C, song, the D, there are currently 0 worker 6 B, song, the watchtower, C, D, song, the green dragon tavern, C, there are currently 0 B, 3 there are currently 6 work, there are currently there are 60 E, song, the church, D, 6 C, 1 there are currently help. There are now 6 workers you have 118 villagers, and you currently have 118 villagers doing some work.
ตายหมดวันนี้ก็
D, E, song, the church, F, there are currently 20 workers. There are now 20 you have 118 villagers, and you currently have 118 villagers. Are you sure you wish to enter? Okay, events this day in Dragon Village. You bought song, double beds for the cottages 4. You traded a red ruby for a bag of wolf poison. The tortured remains of dead wolves are found at the edge of the forest.
นี่นะ
Today's weather was sun clouds, which was okay for crop workers used. 18 bags of grain and made. 18 loads of animals at the farm ate. 0 bags of grain and provide guards fought off. 18 wolves and C, wolves were killed. 1 dead wolf had a big dent in its head. 1 retreating wolf was found with an arrow in its arm. Villagers pursued outlaws into the hills and their longswords made short work of outlaws. Workers at the smithy forged. C, new villagers weaved. 3 new baskets tortoise. A couple of villagers got together in a new double bed to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, 1 young villager came of age today. Passing travelers paid. Gold for. 6 of your villagers returned with a gang of armed thugs from Greedy City. The thugs carried the heads of 6 outlaws. Nobody will argue with those thugs. 6 of your villagers returned with the king's own hunting party. The horsemen and archers make short work of 6 wolves. Let's hope that prayers seem to be answered when a small red ruby is found on a gravestone. Oracle tells you many things, but none of them use dignity. The cat prevented rats from eating any food. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be. Lookouts are sure there will be no outlaw attack tomorrow. Lookouts are almost certain. Song, wolves will attack tomorrow. You have. You currently have. You have. 0 you have. 3 you have. 6 gold. You have. 6 you have. 1 you have. Song, stone block. You have. Song, rumors suggest there are around. Outlaws and rumors suggest they are thought to be. Song, wolves in the return to Dragon Village. It is F, 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 E, D, C, the hills. D, E, F, the forest. E, D, C, the hills.
การตามหา
D, E, 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 the river. D, C, the river. B, the river merchant. You have 6 gold coins, and you have merchandise. 6 total weather resistant wheat. 60 gold. Quick loom for the cottage workers. 30 gold. Song, double beds for cottage workers. 30 gold already purchased. New forge for the blacksmith. 60 gold. You hand over. 60 gold. C, D, E, E, C, the wheat fields. There are currently 0 workers out of the maximum. You have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work.
อ๋อใช่
Today's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy for crops. There are currently
เป็นเหรอ
there are now 6 E, F. There are now 6 workers. You have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work.
ไม่
E, 3 the village store. E, F. Song, the guard. There are currently 28 workers. There are now E, 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 C. Are you sure you wish? Okay, special event. The whole village celebrates and bells ring out. The last wolf is vanquished in the forest. From this day forth, wolves will fear, and no wolves will dare. And for once, he is right. The guard, and even the king sends his press events this day. Today, you bought a new forge for the blacksmith for 60 gold. Today's weather was rain. Today's workers grew. 6 workers grew. Workers used. 26 bags of grain and made. 6 loaves. Animals at the farm ate. 0 guards fought off. Song, wolves and song, wolves were killed in the attack. 1 dead wolf had a big dent in its head. 1 retreating wolf was found with an arrow in its neck. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills and their longswords made short work of 3 outlaws. Unfortunately, 1 villager workers at the smithy forged. New villagers weaved. 3 new baskets. A couple of villagers got together in a new double bed to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, passing travelers paid. 6 gold prayers sing. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for hunting outlaws. But the best news of the day, no more wolves. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food or grain. Villagers ate up. Food is safe. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which lookouts are almost certain. Outlaws will attack tomorrow. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have villagers. You currently have you have 0 bags of grain. You have available food. You have 6 gold coins. You have goods to sell. You have ruby. You have stone blocks. You have oak wood beam. Rumors suggest there are around. Outlaws in the hills. Rumors suggest they are thought to be 0 wolves in the return to Dragon Village. It is E, 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 D, C, the hills. There are currently workers. There are now. Are you sure you wish to enter today? Okay, special event.
ไปโลด
The whole from and impressive event. Workers grew. 68 bags of grain in the today's weather was sun clouds, which was okay. Today workers used. Workers grew. 60 workers used. 38 bags of grain and made. animals at the farm ate. 0 bags of guards fought off. Outlaws and 3 outlaws were killed in the attack. 1 dead outlaw had most of his head missing. 1 retreating outlaw. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills and their longswords made short work of outlaws.
เรียบร้อยฮะ
Workers at the smithy forged. New villagers weaved. New baskets tortoise. A couple of villagers got together in a new double bed to make a baby. As a complete passing travelers paid. Gold for. Prayers seem to be answered. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent, but the best news of the day, no more outlaws. Dignity the cat prevented rats from villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which will villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have villagers. You currently have you have villagers. You have bags of grain. You have you have gold coins. You have goods to sell. You have rubies. You have oak wood beams. Rumors suggest there are around. Rumors return to Dragon Village and eat a day. C, the hills.
มีคนขายหมด
There are now 0 D, the road to the north.
ตรงนี้มังกรนะ
E, the church. F, there are now 0 F, 3 the barley fields. There are currently 6 work.
มันจะมี
There are now E, there are currently. There are now E, D, C, A, the hill quarry. There are now B, C, D, E, F, G, G. There are currently. Sorry, there are only 3 workers F, E, D, 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 the bridge E, the river. There are currently 0 work D, C. There are currently C. There are currently workers out of the maximum of C in the front. There are now 0 D. There are currently workers out of the maximum of. There are currently. There are now E, E, D. There are currently 6 workers out of the C. There are currently 0 work D, D. There are currently 0 workers out of the max C. There are currently 6 workers out of D, E, E. There are currently 6. There are F, G, the oak forest. There are currently. There are now 6. You have villagers, and you currently have you have villagers. F, E, the church. D, E. There are currently. There are you have villagers, and you currently have you have D, the marketplace. There are currently 6 workers out of the maximum of C in the market. D, the green dragon. D, C, B. There are currently workers out. There are currently. There are now. Are you sure you? Okay, events this day in Dragon Village. Some folk put herbs in their cookies. Some put herbs in their pipes, and the plague stayed away. What madness? C, villagers threw themselves into the dike today, and a few workers stopped work. So check all your buildings.
อ้าวสวย
Today's weather was sun clouds, which was okay for crops. Workers grew. Bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers grew. Bags of grain. Workers used. 3 bags of workers at the smithy forged. New metalware goods in their shiny new forge. Villagers weaved. New basket tortoise. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. New babies. As a complete passing travelers paid. Gold for. Prayers seem to be answered when a small green gem is found on a gravestone. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for catching fish. Workers at the quarry carved out. Large blocks of stone. Workers in the oak forest cut lumber and hay. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food or villagers stayed up.
118
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds. Villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have
118
villagers. You currently have
108
you have
64
bags of grain. You have
195
you have
26
gold. You have
52
goods to sell. You have
1
gems. You have
2
rubies. You have stone block. You have
7
oak wood beam. Rumors suggest there are around. You have you have you have rumors suggest there are return to Dragon Village. It is A.
3
The road A. There are currently there are now B C D F G G G. There are currently there are F the guardhouse E which there are currently there are now D C the building block D the market there are currently there are now B the blacksmith there are currently workers here there are now B C the B there are B there are C the village C there are now C the farm D there are currently there are now E there are currently
19
workers there are now E F there are now
20
work E the village store. You have
118
villagers, and you currently have
118
villagers F
3
F F G the farm there are currently soon workers out of the maximum of C F F G there are currently workers out of F. Are you sure you okay? Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sun clouds, which was okay for crops. Workers grew
35
bags of grain. Workers grew
38
bags of grain. Workers used
45
workers at the smithy forge. New metalware. Good villagers wheat. New basket. A couple of villagers got together in a new double bed to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young passing traveler's paid. Prayers seem to be answered when a small green gem is found in the collection pot. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for forging metalware. Workers at the quarry carved out large blocks of stone. Workers in the oak forest cut lumber and hay. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food or villagers stayed up.
124
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have
119
you currently have
118
villagers do you have
85
bags you have
212
available food. You have
36
gold coin. You have
85
bags you have
212
available you have
36
gold coins. You have
55
gems. You have
2
you have
12
you have oak wood beams. You have oak wood beams. Rumors suggest they are thought return to Dragon Village. It is A D C B the river A B C D E F G F E the river F the river E D C the river B the river C D E
3
the village D C D E the village there are now you have
119
villagers and you currently have
119
are you sure you okay? Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was workers grew
27
bags of grain in the wheat. Workers grew
24
bags of grain in the barley field.
ตรงไว้ตรงวินเลจสโตร์เพราะว่ามันอาจจะ
Workers used
55
bags of grain and made. Workers at the smithy forge.
14
Villagers wheat. New basket. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made.
3
New babe as a complete coincidence. Youth can now be counted passing travelers paid.
17
Gold for prayers seem to be answered when baskets were found suspiciously. But the oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for selling goods on the market. Workers at the quarry carved out large blocks of stone. Workers in the oak forest cut lumber and hay. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food or villagers stayed up.
109
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have
122
villager. You currently have
119
you have
81
bags of grain. You have
216
you have
53
gold. You have
71
you have rumors suggest they are around. Rumors return to Dragon Village. It is day. There are currently workers out of there are currently you have
122
villagers and you currently have D C B the blocks C D E the village store. There are currently sorry there are only workers of you have stone blocks and oak wood beams. You have
122
villagers and you currently have
119
villagers doing there are currently sorry there are only workers available. There are currently are you sure you okay? Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was workers grew
48
bags of workers used
45
bags of grain and made.
148
Loaves workers at the smithy forge. New metalware. Good villagers wheat. New basket tortoise. A couple of villagers got together in a new double bed to make a baby. As a passing travelers paid. Gold visiting travelers paid a handsome. Prayers seem to be answered when a small green gem is found out. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for cheese. Workers at the quarry carved out large blocks of workers in the oak forest cut lumber and hay. Beams of oak wood. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food. Villagers stayed up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which will villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers you have
123
villagers. You currently have
122
you have
124
bags of grain. You have
289
available. You have gold coins. You have goods to sell. You have gems. You have rubies. You have rumors suggest there are around. Rumors return to today's weather. Returns it is day. There are now the river D the bridge to the south. C the river merchant. Merchandise for sale. Long swords. It is day. You have gems and rubies. Merchandise for ring of charm. Red rubies. Staff of cunning. Green gems. Partial cure for pots of madness. Red rubies. Partial cure for the plague. Green gems. Partial cure for the plague.
การรักษาโรคระบาด2มันยังไม่มีสีอยู่บางส่วน
You hand over. Green gems for this plague antidote.
โอเค
Partial cure for pots of madness. Red.
การรักษาบ้านส่วนสำหรับอุบาทแห่งความบ้าคลั่ง2ทับทิมสีแดง
Partial Book of Dragon Lore. Red rubies. You hand over. Red rubies for this most valuable book. You scour its pages and some treasures leap out. Dragons differ in character. This mostly depends on their black dragons.
มังกรดำเป็นสัตว์เดรัจฉานคุณจะต้องการความช่วยเหลือจากราชาและเทพเจ้าสำหรับสิ่งเหล่านั้น
Red dragons are nasty, but can be green dragons or cats lock off. All good advice. You reckon? Press merchant. You have already purchased this book. You have merchant all good old cats green red black dragons differ in character.
มังกรดำเป็นสัตว์เดรัจฉานคุณจะ
Red dragons are nasty. Black dragons are brutes. You will need the help of the king and the gods for those.
มังกรดำเป็น
Red dragons are nasty, but can be charmed and calmed with magic.
มังกรแดงนั้นน่ารังเกียจแต่สามารถไล่หนีฤทธิ์และทำให้สงบลงได้ด้วยเวทหนีฤทธิ์
You have merchant press any key to all good if gold and silver cats lock off. Green dragons are unpleasant, but red dragons are nasty, but can be charmed and green dragons are unpleasant. Merchandise for sale.
มังกรอยู่นั้นไม่เป็นที่พอใจแต่สามารถไล่ตามด้วยทองคำได้
Merchandise for sale.
มังกร
You have already purchased Book of Dragon merchandise for sale. Press any key to contain all good advice. You reckon? But how gold and silver dragons can be friendly? Cats lock off. Green dragons are unpleasant, but can be persuaded with gold. Red dragons are nasty. Green cats lock gold and silver dragons can be.
มังกรทองและมังกรเป็นมิตรได้แต่กินอาหารเป็นภูเขา
อืมนะหมดละ
It is day.
38
Status report this day in Dragon Village. You have
123
villager. It is day.
38
Time to instruct your workers. You are at location C. The river merchant. You have
1
gems and
0
rubies.
1 เจมส์ทำอะไรได้บ้างซื้อเด็ก2 คน
Merchandise for sale. Ring staff of part 1 Book of Advanced Village Management.
1
Wolf poison.
1
Red ruby.
2
Orphan babies.
1
Green gem. You hand over.
1
Small green gem.
1
Wolf poison.
1
Red ruby. It is day.
38
Merchant return to Dragon Village. Ring of charm. Red rubies. Staff of cunning. Green gems.
วันนี้นะครับอีกสักพักเลยนะโอ้โห
It is day.
38
Time. You have
125
villagers, and you currently have
123
villagers doing D E
C
the wheat E
3
the village store. There are currently workers here. The maximum. There you have
125
villagers, and you currently have.
125
Are you sure you okay? Events this day in Dragon Village. You traded. Green gems for a partial cure. You traded. Red rubies for. You wonder if workers could spot the color of the dragon. You traded a green gem for. As a complete coincidence. Use game of it. Today's weather was sun clouds, which was okay for crops. Workers group.
38
Bags of grain in the workers group.
42
Workers used. Workers at the smithy fort. Villagers weed.
4
A couple of villagers got together as a complete coincidence. One passing travelers paid.
8
Gold visiting travelers paid a hands. Prayer seemed to be answered when.
20
Jesus were Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for baking bread. Workers at the quarry carved out large blocks of workers in the oak forest cut dignity the path prevented rats from eating any food or villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villager you have.
126
Village you currently have. You have.
320
You have.
320
You have.
83
You have.
74
Stone. You have.
28
Oak wood beams. You have.
23
Stone blocks. You have. Rumors suggest they are around. Rumors suggest they are. Return to Dragon Village. It is D C P A A.
3
The road to the west. A.
2
There are now B C D E F G G G G G.
2
There are now 0 workers. H E T C.
3
The building clock.
20
Wooden. Stone are delivered and work can start. There are currently
0
workers here. The maximum of this location is. How many? There are now workers. You have.
126
Villagers. You have.
126
Villagers. And you currently have.
115
D.
3
The marketplace. There are currently workers here. There are now D.
C
The mill and bakery. E. E.
3
The village C. D. D. E. There are currently. There are now workers here. You have.
126
Villagers. And you currently have.
118
Villagers doing some work. You have.
126
Villager. D. D. C. The river. B. The river. There are currently A. There are currently workers out. There are currently. There are D. C. D. F. G. 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 There are currently workers here. The map. There are now workers here. You have.
126
Villagers. And you currently have.
125
Villagers doing some work. F. E. T. C. B. A. There are currently
7
There are you sure you? Okay. Special event. Some villagers work on jobs for the witch. Wanda brings out some tea. Sorry, there's no cheese with the biscuits, said Wanda. My goat Heather ran off and scared by the wolves, explained Wanda.
อีกแล้วต้องไปหาในป่านู่นอีกแล้ว
Somebody kindly called it from my goat. You haven't found head of the goat. Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was rain. Workers group.
24
Bags of grain in the wheat workers group.
30
Workers used. Workers at the smithy villages wheat. A couple of villagers got together as a complete coincidence. One young passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a prayer seemed to be answered when. Gold Oracle tells you many things, but somebody needs to find. Villagers have now completed. Dignity the path prevented rats from villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a possible disaster for villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers you have.
127
You currently have.
120
You have.
150
You have.
563
You have.
104
You have.
72
You have.
8
Stone. You have.
3
Rumors suggest they are around.
0
Outlaws. Rumors suggest they return to Dragon Village today. A. B. A. There are currently. There are B. C. D. D. C. The mill and bakery. E. There are currently. There are now E. F. There are currently.
1
There are now workers here. There are currently. There are now F. There are currently. There are F. 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 G. There are currently. There are now. You have.
126
Villagers. And you currently have.
125
Villagers doing some work.
ขอมาหน่อยนะ
Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was floods, which was a workers group.
18
Bags of grain workers group.
12
Bags of grain in the floods were held by the Dyken workers have saved today's crop of workers used.
45
Bags armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest, but no wolves were workers at the smithy forge. New metalware goods in their shiny new forge.
หาได้ไหนอะป่า
Villagers weed.
C
New basket tortoise. A couple of villagers got together in their new double bed to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hand. Prayer seemed to be answered when.
28
Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing wheat. For Oracle, still dignity the path prevented rats from eating any food or villagers ate up.
160
Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which will villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have.
128
You currently have.
125
You have.
140
You have.
565
You have.
110
Bags of grain. You have.
565
You have.
119
Gold coin. You have.
68
Goods to sell. You have.
8
Stone blocks. You have.
3
Oak wood. Rumors suggest they are around. So rumor return to E today. You have completed.
42
Percent of your building task. There are now GG.
3
The road to the E. G.
3
The road to F.
3
The barley fields. There are currently.
อันนี้ผมกดที
There are now E. There are currently. Work. Sorry. F. C. E. There are currently. Sorry. There are F. There are now 0 E. There are currently. There are now workers here. You have.
128
Villagers. And you currently have.
125
Villagers doing some work. D.
C
The mill and bakery. C.
C
There are currently.
Soon.
Workers out there. There are now D. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sun clouds. Which workers group?
56
Bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers group.
42
Workers used.
50
Bags of grain in made.
157
Animals at the farm ate.
3
Workers at the smithy forge.
Out.
New villagers wheat.
3
New a couple of villagers got together in their new double bed to make it as a complete coincidence. One young villager came of age. Passing travelers paid. Gold visiting travelers paid a handsome. Prayer seemed to be answered when. Jesus were found. Oracle tells you many things, but none of them. Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for villagers have now completed. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating. Villagers have now completed.
62
Percent of it. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating. Villagers ate up.
135
Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have.
120
You have. Rumors suggest they are around. Rumors suggest they are. Return to Dragon Village today.
62
You have.
129
Villagers. And you currently have.
128
The E.
C
The wheat fields. There are now.
C
There are currently. Workers. There are now. C. The farmhouse. There are now. There are currently. Workers out of the map. You have.
129
Villagers. And you currently have.
120
Are you sure? Okay. Special event. Some villagers work on jobs for the witch. I have a special little job. If someone was to recover my magic ring, she says.
เมจิกลิงอยู่ไหนวะถาม
That would be simply enchanting. You have a new quest.
ยังไม่ได้
Find a magic ring for one of the witch. Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Workers Group.
32
Bags of workers used.
45
Bags of grain and animal work. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made.
แต่ว่าไม่ใช่
As a complete coincidence,
3
youth can now be counted amongst your workforce. Passing travelers paid. Visiting prayer seemed to be answered when a small green gem is found on a gravestone. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing barley. Somebody needs to find a magic ring for one of the witch. Villagers have now completed. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating any food or villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have.
130
You have. Rumors suggest there are. Rumors return to Dragon. Today's weather. Return it today.
43
Time. Are you sure you wish to end? Okay. Special event. Today your builders completed the king's country residence. A fine house fit for you are justly proud of your achievement. The king sends some house show staff. Some press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers group. Bags of grain in the wheat workers group. Bags of grain workers used. Bags of grain in make. Animals at the farm ate.
3
Workers at the smithy forge. New metalware goods in their villagers wheat.
3
A couple of villagers got together in their as a complete coincidence. One passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hands. Prayer seemed to be answered when a small green gem is found outside. Oracle tells you many things. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with one. Villagers have now completed. 100% of the king's new residents. Village folks stare at the king. 6 of the king's servants joined the village workforce. Bringing
150
gold hand.
150
Food. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating any food or grain. Villagers ate up.
152
Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have.
139
You currently have.
139
Villagers doing. You have.
139
Villagers. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have. You currently have.
140
You have.
139
Villager. You have. You have.
180
You have. You have.
320
You have.
68
You have.
2
Gem. You have.
8
Stone. You have.
3
Rumors suggest return to Dragon Village today.
CC
Time to instruct your workers. You are at location C. The farmhouse. Today's weather forecast is sun clouds. You have.
798
Available food. And you have.
180
Bags of grain.
อันนี้เควสก็เสร็จแล้วใช่ปะเควสเสร็จแล้วล่ะ
Your game mission is to quell the dragon.
อ้าวเหลือมังกร
60. The road to the north.
มังกรมาตอนไหนเนี่ย
There are currently workers here. The maximum of this location is. How many workers do there are now? Workers here. You have.
139
Villagers. C. The village cottages.
ไม่ได้ใช้
C. 3. The King's Country residence. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum of this location is 6. How many workers do you want to do a few chores? Sorry, the maximum workers here is 6. There are still 0 workers here. There are currently 0 there are now 6 workers here. You have
139
villagers, and you currently have
130
villagers. C. D. Song. E. F. G. G. Song. The Oak Forest. G. 3. The road to the east. F. F. G. 3. The road to the east. There are currently 0 workers here. The maximum. There are now work. Are you sure you? Okay. Special event. Some villagers work on jobs for the witch. One that brings up that rocky river can be dammed. I lost my toad the last time it flooded. Somebody kind could go look for Tiny the Toad. You have a new quest. Find a toad called Tiny for one of the witch. Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. What madness? Ha. Today's weather was what madness? Ha. Villagers threw themselves into the dike today and a few workers stopped work. So check all your buildings. What madness? Workers grew.
33
Bags of workers grew. 36 that workers used. Animals at the farm ate. Song. Workers at the smithy forged. New metal villagers weaved. New bats. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. As a complete point, passing travelers paid. Gold for visiting travelers paid a handsome. Song. Food is taken east towards hungry village 5. C. Villagers stare at the smoke in the north. Prayers were listened to by the gods, but the gods were a little bit. C. Villagers stare at the smoke in the north and spot a dragon, but are unsure of it. C. Prayers were listened to by the gods, but the gods were a little busy today. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for somebody needs. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for selling goods on the market. Or somebody needs to find a toad called Tiny for one of the witch. Workers swept the floors and tested the wine and cheese were okay for the king. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating any food or grain. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers, you have. Villagers, you currently have. Village, you have. Bags of grain, you have. Available, you have. You have. Goods to sell, you have. Song, you have. Stone, you have. Rumors suggest there are around. Rumors return to dragon. It is day. Time to villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. It is hard to put a figure on how much of the king's favor you have gained, but Brian said it is around. Everyone else reckons the king has respect for you.
ใครๆก็มองว่าในหลวงทรงเคารพท่าน
F F C the dike. E. There are now 0 workers. E. F. There are now 0. E. D. D. C. The mill and bakery. There are currently. No. There are C. There are now C. 3. The King's Country resident. There are now C. There are now B. The watch. There are now B. B. There are now B. 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 C. D. The road to the north. There are now D. The Green Dragon Tavern. E. There are now E. The village store. There are now D. There are now C. B. C. There are currently C. Workers here. B. There are now B. C. The village cottages. D. The Green Dragon Tavern. D. The market. D. C. B. A. The B. 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 A. A. The Oracle's house. There are currently workers here. The max. There are now B. C. D. E. F. G. 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 There are now workers here. F. E. The F. The river merchant. Merchandise for sale. Long swords. Gold already today. You have. Gems and merchant. Rich staff of cunning. Partial cure for pots of madness. Staff of cunning. Ring of charm. Red rubies. Partial cure for pots of madness. Red rubies. Partial cure for the plague. Green gems. You have already purchased it. Partial cure. You do not have enough rubies for this madness antidote. It is day. You have. Gems and rubies. Merchandise for sale. Partial. Book of Dragon Lore. Red Root. Book of Advanced Village Management. Green gems. Wolf poison. Red root. Orphan babies. Green gems. Jesus. Gold. Bags of grain. Gold. Stone blocks. Gold. Attractive new market stalls. Gold. Superior fishing rods. Gold. You hand over. Prayer books. Gold.
หนังสือสวดมีลิปเล่ม40 เป็นทอง
You hand over. Rat traps. Gold. New millstone. Gold.
โม่ไหล40 ทอง
You hand over. Premium farm chickens. 30 gold. You hand over. New forge for the blacksmith. 40 gold. Double bed for cottage workers. Loom for the cottage workers. 30. You hand over. Quick growing barley seeds. 60 gold. You hand over. Total weather resist. You hand over. Drought resist. You hand over. Longs. You have already purchased. Long posts. 40. You have drop. Quick loop. New. New today. You have gold coins. And you have goods to sell. You have
783
available food. And you have
197
F. E. C. The wheat fields. E. The river. E. F. E. C. The F. F. E. D. The bridge to the south. There are currently 0 workers out of the maximum of in the bridge to the south. Are you sure you wish to end today? Please type Y or N. Please press Y or N for yes. Okay. You have
136
villagers. And you currently have villagers doing some work. B. A. There are currently. There are now B. C. D. F. G. 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 There are currently. There are G. There are now C. G. F. F. The river merchant. E. There are currently. There are now. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon. You bought prayer books for the church for
40
gold. You bought a new millstone for the mill for 40 gold. You bought premium chickens for 30 gold. You bought a loom for the cottages for. You bought quick growing barley grain for. You bought total weather resistant wheat. You bought drought resistant wheat grain. Today's weather was floods, which was a possible disaster. Floods broke through the dike with the new millstone. Workers used. Bags of grain and made.
222
Loaves of bread in the mill and bakery. Animals and some new chickens ate. Bags of grain and provided. 30 eggs and 60 cheeses at the farmhouse. Workers used their new rods to catch fish on the river. Workers gathered nuts and berries in the woods. Workers at the smithy forged. New metal ware goods in their shiny new forge. Villagers weaved textiles with their new loom. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. New baby as a complete coincidence. Youth can now become passing travelers paid. 13 gold. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Gold for just. Villagers stare at the smoke in the north but spot no dragon. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered when cheeses were found strangely. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for catching fish. Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for Wanda. Workers tended the garden and sampled some cakes for quality control for the king. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating any food or grain. Villagers ate up.
124
Food is tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel you have.
138
You currently have. You have. Rumors suggest there are around. Rumors suggest return to Dragon Village today. Your game mission is to quell the dragon.
ปราบปรามมังกร
E. The river merchant. You have
25
gold coins and you have merchandise for short bows. C. Long drought resistant wheat. 30 gold already purchased. Total weather resistant wheat. 60 gold already purchased. Quick growing barley seeds. 60 gold already purchased. Loom for cottage workers. 30 gold already purchased. Double bed for cottage workers. 30 gold already purchased. It is day. Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Special event. Panic for the village as the green dragon descends on the village. Some folk just run around, deserting their jobs. To people's horror, the dragon sets up its lair on the north road. Perhaps we should talk to it, says Brian. Perhaps we should feed Brian to it, reply the villagers. Fortunately, you remember better advices on hand in the Dragon Lore book the merchant sells. Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. No one will ever forget the day of green.
จะไม่มีใครลืมวันที่มังกรเขียวมาถึงผู้คนตื่นตระหนกดังนั้นตรวจสอบอาการทั้งหมดของคุณ
Frantically, you scour your Dragon Lore book for ways to quell a green dragon.
คุณค้นหาหนังสือตำนานมังกรของคุณอย่างบ้าคลั่งเพื่อหาวิธีปราบมังกรสีเขียว
You learn that the green dragon can only be neutralized.
คุณเรียนรู้ว่ามังกรจิ๋วสามารถทำให้ดังได้ด้วยกองทองคำเท่านั้น
So you have to make a pile of gold around
500
Mine do the trick, says Brian the Wise.
500
Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. With the new millstone, workers used
64
bags of grain and made
201
loaves, animals, and some new chickens ate. Bags of grain and for workers used their new rods to catch
42
fish on the river. Tragically, one careless fisherman fell in the river and workers gathered nuts and berries and workers at the smithy forged
16
new metalware goods and villagers weaved. Text, some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made as a complete coincidence. Passing travelers paid gold for visiting travelers paid. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered when baskets were found suspiciously. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for making babies. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with one of the witch. Workers did some laundry and checked the brandy was up to scratch for the king. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any villagers tomorrow. You currently have. Villagers feel safe. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain. Villagers feel safe. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy for crops. This forecast is rumors suggest there are around. Rumors return to no one will return. It is D C the wheat fields. D C the B C the wheat fields. There are B there are B there are B C the king's cup C there are currently there are now C work C there are now C D the green there are currently there are now E the village store. There are currently there are now C D there are currently there are now C workers here C there are currently there are now workers here D C the mill and bakery. There are currently there are now C there are currently there are now C D C there are currently C workers here. There are E C the wheat field. There are currently there are now E the village store. F there are currently sorry there are only soon workers available. There are still soon workers here. You have villagers and you currently have E there are currently there are now E F there are currently there are now C E D the river. F there are currently workers out of the maximum of C there are currently workers there are now E D C B A there are now B C D E F G there are currently there are now E the village store. E there are currently sorry the D E sorry the maximum workers E F C the dike. F there are now E there are now you have villagers and you currently have villagers doing. Are you sure you okay? Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops.
นี่ไงผมก็ไม่ได้จำหรอกว่ากดกดกี่ครั้งไปอะไรวะผมจำเสียงของแต่ละอันเนี้ยมันไม่เหมือนกันนะต้องลองจำดู
Workers used improved seeds to grow 36 bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers used quick growing seeds to grow 30 bags of grain in the barley fields with the new millstone. Workers used 72 bags of grain and made 216 loaves, animals and some new chickens ate. Bags of grain. Workers used their new rods to catch fish on the river. Workers gathered nuts and berries in the woods. Workers at the smithy forged new metalware goods in their villagers weaved textiles with their new loom. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made new baby as a complete coincidence. Youth can now be counted amongst your workforce. Passing travelers paid gold for goods at the marketplace. Visiting travelers paid a handsome gold for just of your workforce return with grateful presents from Hungry Village. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered when metalware goods. Oracle tells you many things, but none of it. Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for one. Workers swept the floors and tested the wine and cheese were okay for the king. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food. Villagers ate up. Food is tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolf. You have rumors suggest there are around. Rumors return to Dragon Village and it is you have gold coins and you have gems and E C the wheat fields. There are currently there are now E F there are currently there are now you have gems and rubies. E the village store. D the market. D there are currently soon. There are now you have villagers and you currently have villagers doing some work. D the river. D the bridge to the south. C the river. B the river merchant. C there are currently workers out of the map. There are currently there are now. Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Special event. Some villagers work on jobs for the witch. I have a special little job for you kind people. If someone was to recover my enchanted staff, she says that would be simply magic.
มันอยู่กับพ่อค้า
You have a new quest. Find an enchanted staff for one of the witch. Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was workers used improved seeds to grow 36 workers used quick growing seeds to grow with the new millstone. Workers used animals and some new chickens ate with the new millstone. Workers used bags of grain and made 234 animals. Workers used with villagers weaved textiles with some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made new babe as a complete passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Prayers seemed to be answered when a small green gem is found in the collection box. Some villagers drank far too much cider, sometimes taking it. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for finding things in the woods. Somebody needs to find an enchanted staff for one of the witch. Workers did some laundry and sampled some cakes for quality control for the king. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating it. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds, which will villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from what you have. Villagers. You currently have. You have bags of grain. You have available for you have gold coins. You have bags of grain. You currently have goods to sell. You have gems. You have gold coin. You have rumors suggest there are thought to return to Dragon Village and start it is day. C the river. There are currently workers here. The maximum. There are you sure you okay? Special event. Customers of the tavern got lucky today. One disenchanted staff has been found.
เอ้าอยู่นู่นเฉยไปอยู่นู่นเหรอ
Which Wanda was a happy witch this day?
อยู่ตรงลงเตียงอะ
I was lost without my staff, said Wanda. Magically, from this day, bad events are not such bad events.
นี่
You have completed this quest.
ดีจัดนะคนที่บ้า
Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. The dragon devoured unlucky villagers today, causing workers to run around in panic.
ไม่
วันนี้มังกรปืนยิงชาวบ้านที่โชคร้าย8คนทำให้คนนั้นวิ่งไปรอบๆด้วยความตื่นตระหนกดังนั้นโปรดตรวจสอบอาการของคุณ
Left blank. Today's weather was sun clouds, which was okay for customers of the tavern were given free cider and cheese for finding Wanda's lost stick. Workers used improved seeds to grow 38 bags of grain. Workers used quick growing seeds with the new millstone. Workers used 67 bags of grain and made 228 loaves, animals and some new chickens ate bags of grain and provided. Workers used their new rods to catch workers gathered nuts and berries in the woods. Workers at the smithy forged new villagers weaved textiles with their some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made new as a complete passing travelers paid gold for visiting travelers paid a hand. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered when metalware goods were found. Some villagers drank far too much beer instead. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing barley. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with one of the workers washed dishes and sampled some cakes for quality control. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food or grain. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which will be good for crops. This forecast is villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe. You have you currently have you have 36 bags of grain. You have gem. You have rumors suggest there return to Dragon Village and start your new day. It is C the hill. C the village cottages. C there are currently There are now B. There are now B. There are B. There are currently. There are now C. 3. The King's Country. There are D. 3. There are currently. There are D. C. The Milk D. There are now D. There are now C. There are now C. D. 2. The Green Dragon. There are currently. Now worker. There are now E. There are now C. D. 3. The Marketplace. There are currently. There are E. There are currently. Now workers. There are now E. C. There are currently. Workers here. There are now E. F. There are currently. There are now E. D. The bridge to the south. C. B. The river. There are now B. A. C. There are only C. Worker A. Sorry A. The Oracle A. The Oracle's house. There are now C. Workers here. There are A. B. There are B. C. D. E. F. G. There are now workers here. You have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work. F. The river. There are currently workers. There are currently. There are now workers. Are you sure? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good for crops. Workers used improved seeds to grow. Bags with the new millstone. Workers used bags of grain and made. Animals and some new chickens ate. Bags of grain and provided. Eggs and workers used their new rods to catch. Fish on the river. Tragically, one careless fisherman fell in the river and drowned. Workers gathered. Nuts and workers at the smithy forge. New metalware goods in their shop. Villagers weaved. Textiles with their new loom. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. New baby as a complete coincidence. Youth can now be passing travelers paid. Gold visiting travelers paid. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered when cheeses were found. Some villagers drank far too much cider. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for baking bread. Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for Wanda. Workers did some laundry and tested the wine and cheese were okay for the king. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any food villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad. Villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe. You have villagers. You currently have villagers. You have bags of grain. You have available food. You have rumors suggest there are around. Return to dragon. It is dead. You have villagers, and you currently have F G. The oak forest G. There are currently. Sorry, there are only workers available. There are F E. There are currently there are E F C the dike. There are only G. There are only C the woods. There are currently workers here. The maximum. There are now F. There are currently there are F G. There are currently there are only there are now workers here. The maximum. There are now. Are you sure you would please press Y or N for yes or no? Okay. Lori was drinking cider with Rosie. She claimed there were rubies in the river, but rubies asleep, said Lori. Rubies. Was she dreaming, or are there really witches in the river? Press any key to continue. Special event. Some villagers work on jobs for the witch. Wanda, look, you know that nasty bout of madness, said Wanda. It's so not cool. It's just lightheaded thinking about it. If I had some special mushrooms, I could do something about it. Somebody kind could go look for some of those mushrooms for me. You have a new quest. Find some special. Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers used improved seeds to grow. Workers with the new millstone. Workers used bags of grain and made. Animals and some new chickens ate. Bags of workers used their new rods to catch. Fish on the river. Workers gathered. Nuts and berries in the wood. Workers at the smithy forge. New metalware goods in their shiny new villagers weaved. Textiles with their new loom. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. New babies as a complete coincidence. Youth can now be counted amongst your workforce. Passing travelers paid. Gold for. Goods visiting travelers paid a handsome. Gold for. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered when. Rosie has a dream about rubies, but now Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing wheat. Rosie has a dream about. Workers use their new rods to catch. You have stone blocks. You have dignity the king. Oracle tells Rosie has a dream about. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be. Rosie has a dream. Rosie มีความฝันเกี่ยวกับทับทิมแต่ตอนนี้ใครๆก็อยากตกปลา Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing wheat. Somebody needs to find some special mushrooms for Wanda the witch. Worker you currently have villager you have 97 bags of grain. You currently have you have 97 bags of grain. You have 2,200 you have 99 you have 158 goods to sell. You have rumors suggest there today's weather was drought. Rumors return to it today. 52 there are currently workers here. The maximum there are now work F C the dike F the river there are now. Are you sure you okay? Special event. Villagers gathering nuts and berries also found some special mushroom. Which one was a happy witch this day? Now you press. Some villagers collecting nuts and berries. Workers used improved seeds to grow. Bags of grain in the wood with the new millstone. Workers used bags of grain and made. Animals and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to catch. Workers at the smithy forge. Villagers weaved. A couple of villagers got together as a complete coincidence. Passing travelers paid. Gold for. Goods visiting travelers paid a hand. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered. Some villagers drank far too much cider. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for finding things in the woods. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with Wanda. Workers did some laundry and checked the brandy was up to scratch for the king. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating any. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for crops. Villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from what you have. Villagers. You currently have. Villagers doing. You have. Available for. You have. Rumors suggest there are around. Rumors suggest return to Dragon Village. It is day. F. The river. There are currently. Sorry. There are only. There are currently. There are now. Are you sure you wish to end today? Please type 1. Okay. Special event. Farmer Giles had far too much cider on such a hot day, and here he was back at the tavern for some more. He claimed he fell asleep in the woods, and when he awoke, he saw little green gems. Was he really too dizzy to pick them up? Or is this just the cider talking? Press any key to continue. Events this day in Dragon Village. The dragon devoured. Unlucky villagers today causing workers to run around in panic. So check your buildings. Today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers used improved seeds to grow. Workers used quick growing seeds to grow. With the new millstone. Workers used quick with animals. Workers used their new rods to catch. Tragically, one careless fisherman fell in the river and drowned. Workers gathered. Nuts. Workers at the smithy forge. New villagers weaved. Textiles. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. As a complete coincidence. Youth can now be passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered when Farmer Giles falls asleep in the woods. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent. Farmer Giles falls asleep. ชาวนาใจเราการันสอบเธอและไปในป่าตอนนี้ใครๆก็ก้างไกลกันตัว Or some villagers drank many cups of tea with Wanda the witch. Workers washed dishes and checked the brandy was up to scratch for the king. The king sincerely dignity the cat prevented rats from eating. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be dodgy for crops. This forecast is. You have bags of grain. You have. Rumors suggest there are thought return to Dragon Village. It is B. Today is day. Of your A. You are A. B. C. The weavers. There are now B. There are now B. There are C. The king. There are currently. C. There are currently. There are now C. There are currently. There are D. There are currently. 0. There are now E. There are currently. There are now E. The village. There are currently. There are now D. There are currently. There are now D. There are currently. There are now C. There are currently. There are now C. B. C. D. C. The middle E. C. The wheat field. There are currently. There are E. F. There are currently. There are now F. C. The dike. You have. Villagers. And you currently have. There are currently. 0. Workers out of them. E. C. The wheat field. There are now E. F. There are G. The oak forest. G. There are currently. There are now G. C. The woods. There are currently. C. Workers. G. There are now F. There are Sorry, D, C, B, A. Sorry, there are only C workers available. There are now B, B, A, C. There are currently C, B. There are currently 2 workers out of a maximum of B, A. 3 there are sorry, B, C. The weakest A, 3 the road A, 3 the road to the west. A, there are now B. There are now A, the Oracle's house. You have villagers, and you currently have village A, B, C, D. Are you sure you wish to end today? Okay, events this day in Dragon Village. Some folk put herbs in their cookies, some put herbs in their pie, some folks had mushroom soup, others had mushrooms in their tea. Miraculously, nobody went mad.
นี่ไง
Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crops. Workers used improved seeds to grow. Bags of grain in the wheat field. Workers used quick with the new millstone. Workers used bags animals and some new chickens ate. Bags of grain. Workers used their new rods to catch fish on the river.
หาคนทัน
Workers gathered. Nut workers at the smithy forge. New metalware. Villagers weaved. Textiles with their new loom.
มีอยู่ 2,000
Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made new babies.
ได้คนมาเพิ่มสัก30
As a complete coincidence, used passing travelers paid. Gold for visiting travelers paid ahead. Food is taken east towards villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered when some villagers drank far too much cider. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for cheats. Some villagers fetched water and chopped. Workers swept the floors and sampled some cakes for quality control. Became sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating any food or grain. Villagers ate up. Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for villagers. Feel safe from outlaws. Villagers, you have. Village, you currently have. You have. You have. You have. Rumors suggest return to Dragon Village today. D, C, the mill and baker. B, C, A. There are now B, A. B. There are now C, you have. Villagers, and you currently have. You have. Gems and rubies.
3 เจม
A, B, the river. Are you sure you wish to? Okay, events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was workers used improved seeds to grow. Workers used quick growing seeds with the new millstone. Workers used animals and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods. Workers gathered. Workers at the smithy forge. Villagers weaved. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds as a complete coincidence. Used passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hand. Some prayers were listened to by the gods. But some villagers drank prayers were listened to by the gods. But the gods were a little busy today. This prayer, some oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for forging metalware. Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for workers tended the garden and checked the brandy was up to scratch for the king. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have. You currently have. You have. You have. Rumors suggest they are thought today's weather was drought. Return it is day. B, C, the weaker station. B, the river. There are currently C workers. There are B, A. There are not B, C, D, C, the weak F. C, there are currently soon workers here. Sorry, there are only workers available. There are currently soon workers here. There are now G, the witches. There are currently workers here. So there are now F, E, D, B, A. There are currently C. There are B, C, D, E, C, the wheat fields. F, there are currently. There are now you have villagers, and you currently have F. Are you sure you wish to end? Okay, events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was flood. Workers used improved seeds to grow. Workers floods with the new millstone. Workers used bags of grain and made animals and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to catch. Workers gathered nuts and berries and workers at the smithy forge. Villagers weaved. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made as a complete coincidence. Used passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new prayers seemed to be some villagers drank oracle tells you many things, but none of them used. Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for warmed up.
ตอนนี้เขาความที่ชอบของราชากับก็อด
Workers swept the floors and checked the brandy was up to scratch for the king.
ก็เท่าไหร่
The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating any. Villagers ate up. Food tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have. Villagers.
นี่มังกรน่าจะ
You currently have. Villagers doing. You have. Bags of grain. You have. Available. You have. Rumors suggest today's weather was flood. Return it today. It is hard to put a figure on.
ราชาชอบ
ใครๆก็มองว่าในหลวงทรงสรรเสริญพระองค์
It is hard to put a figure on how much of the king's favor you have gained, but Brian says it is around.
572
Everyone else reckons the king has praise for you. It is hard to put a figure on how much.
อันนี้ก็
คนอื่นคิดว่าคุณได้รับมิตรภาพของพระผู้เทพ
It is hard to put a figure on how much of the gods' respect you have earned, but Brian says it is around.
668
Everyone else reckons you have earned the friendship of the gods. F.
3
The bar there are currently workers out of there are currently you have
152
villagers, and you currently have
149
villagers doing some work.
219
E. C. There are currently there are now E. F. There are now work you have
152
villagers, and you currently have
151
villagers doing some work. You have
152
F. E. D. C. B. A. There are now. Are you sure you wish? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. The dragon devoured. Today's weather was floods. The dragon devoured. Unlucky villagers today causing workers to run around in panic. So check. Today's weather was floods, which was impossible to workers used improved seeds to grow. Work flood with the new millstone. Workers at the smithy. Villagers weaved. Some villagers really enjoyed as a complete coincidence. Passing travelers paid. Gold for visiting traps of your workforce return with. Grateful presents from Hungry Village.
ไม่ได้หก
Villagers opened their new prayer seemed some workers picking dignity. Villagers feel safe from tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be village you have. Rumors suggest return the dragon tower. Return it today. Time to instruct your workers. You are at location A. The oracle's house. Today's weather forecast is drought. A. The oracle's house. A. C. The woods. B. C. The weaker station. There are currently 3 workers here. The maximum of this location is C. How many workers? There are B. There are now B. There are now C. There are currently there are C. There are currently there are now D. There are currently there are now E. There are now C. Workers E. There are currently there are now D. There are now D. There are currently 01 There are now C. There are currently there are D. E. C. There are currently workers here. The maximum. There are now F. C. The dike. There are currently there are F. There are now E. The village store. E. The river. F. The river. G. The village. There are currently there are now E. D. C. A. There are now B. There are now B. A. There are now you have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work. B. C. D. E. F. G. The road to the east. There are now workers. You have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing F. You have the river. There are currently workers here. There are F. G. There are now you have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was drought, which was bad for workers used improved seeds to grow. Workers with the new millstone. Workers used animals and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to catch. Workers gathered nuts and berries and workers at the smithy forge. Villagers weaved. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made as a complete coincidence. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Food is taken east towards Hungry Village 5. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Some villagers drank far too much cider. Some oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with one to do it. Workers tended the garden and sampled some cake. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe. You have. You currently have. Rumors suggest there are around. Rumors return today's weather was drought. Return it today. There are currently C. There are now F. There are currently C. There are now you have
157
villagers, and you currently have
157
village. Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was drought, which workers used to improve seeds to grow.
27
Bags of grain in the wheat field. Workers used with the new millstone. Workers used. Animal workers gathered. Seek nuts and berries in woodlock. Workers at the smith woodlock. As villagers leave the woods, one of them spots a small green gem.
นั่นมีจริงด้วย
โชคดีจริงๆเมื่อชาวบ้านออกจากป่าคนหนึ่งสังเกตเห็นน้ำมันมีสีเขียวเม็ดเล็ก
What work villagers weed? C. A couple of villagers got together in a new double bed to make a big. As a complete coincidence, one young villager passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hands. Villagers opened their new prayer fires seemed to be answered when.
27
Jesus were some oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing barley. Workers did some laundry and checked the brandy was up to scratch for the king. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolf. You have. You currently have.
156
You have. Rumors return today. Workers used to return to today. You have. C. Gems and 0 rubies. G. The witch's hut. G. F. The river. There are now 0 E. C. The wheat fields. There are currently. There are E. F. There are currently. Sorry. There are only. F. G. C. The woods. There are now 0 workers. F. There are currently. There are you have
157
villagers, and you currently have
157
villagers. Are you sure? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good. Workers used to improve seeds to grow. Workers used quick growing seeds to grow.
134
With the new millstone. Workers used. Workers used quick growing seeds to grow.
134
Bags of grain in the barley fields. With the new millstone. Workers used.
82
Bags of grain in made.
221
Loaves, animals, and some new chickens ate. Bags of grain. Workers at the smithy forge. New metalware goods in the villagers weed. Textiles with their new loom. A couple of villagers got together in a new double bed to make a baby. As a complete coincidence, one young villager passing travelers paid.
64
Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered when. Jesus were found near the farm. Some villagers drank far too much cider. Some oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for baking bread. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with one of the workers did some laundry and sampled some cakes for quality control. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating any food. Villagers ate up.
165
Food is day. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be bad for villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolf. You have
158
villagers. You currently have
150
you have
87
bags of grain. You have
3224
available. You have
221
you have
225
you have
C
gem. You have
8
stone blocks. You have rumors suggest there are around
0
outlaws. Rumors suggest return to Dragon Village. It is day. There are now 0 workers here. F
C
the dike. F
3
the barley fields. There are now F G
2
the F E
C
the wheat fields. There are now E the river. There are currently
0
there are now C work. You have
158
villagers, and you currently have
167
villagers doing some work. E F G C. There are currently
0
workers. There are now you have
158
villagers, and you currently have
164
villagers doing some work. There are currently there are now you have
158
villagers, and you currently have
167
villagers doing some work. You have E D C B A. There are currently
C
workers here. There are now. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. The dragon devoured. Unlucky villagers today causing today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers used to improve seeds to grow.
28
Work with the new mills, animals, and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to catch. Woodlock. While fishing, one lucky villagers caught a small red ruby on the river. Workers gathered.
12
Workers at the smithy. Villagers weed.
3
Some villagers really enjoyed their new as a complete coincidence. Used can passing visiting travelers paid a seat of prayers. Some villagers drank far too much of your workforce return with. Grateful peasants from hungry village. This some oracle some work the king is sincerely dignity the path prevented villagers tomorrow. Villagers feel safe. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine. Which you have. Rumors suggest that return to Dragon Village. B. The watchtower. There are currently. There are now B. There are now B. There are C. The king's country. There are currently workers. There are C. There are currently. There are now D. There are currently. There are now E. There are now F. The bar. There are currently C. Workers here. The maximum of dislocation is easy. There are now worker E. There are currently workers here. The maximum of dislocation is. There are now E. There are currently 60. There are now F. There are currently workers here. There are now E. D. There are currently there are now C. There are currently. There are now B. There are now B. C. E. F. G. There are currently 3. There are G. G. There are currently. Sorry, you have villagers, and you currently have you have there are currently. Sorry, there are only workers available. There are F E T C A. There are B C E F G. The oak forest. G. There are currently. There are now. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good. Workers used to improve seeds to grow. Bags of grain in the wheat field. Worker with the new millstone. Workers used quick growing seeds to grow. Bags of worker with animals and some new chickens ate. Bags of workers used their new rods to catch. Fish. Workers gathered. Nuts and workers at the smithy forge. New metal villagers weed. Textiles. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. As a complete coincidence. Used passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hands. Food is taken east towards hungry village by. Prayers seemed to be answered when a small green gem is found in the market. Some villagers drank far too much cider. Sometimes oracle tells you many things, but none of some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for workers washed dishes and checked the brand. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating any food. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have villager. You currently have you have bags of you have gold coin. You have rumors suggest there are around. Rumors suggest there are return to Dragon Village. It is G F the river E the river D C the river merchandise for sale. Long it is day. You have gems and rubies.
มาเจ็บมาสองบีอยู่เลย
Merchandise return to Dragon Village. Ring of charm. Red rubies. Staff of cunning. Green gems.
แม่ซื้อนี่นี่
Partial cure for pots of madness. Red rubies.
แต่นี่
Partial cure for the plague. Green gems. Book of Dragon lore. Red rubies already purchased. It is D. The bridge to the south. C. The river. You have villagers, and you currently have villagers. There are currently workers out of the map. There are currently workers here. There are you have villagers, and you currently have. Are you sure? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was rain, which was workers used to improve seeds to grow. Worker with the new millstone. Workers used animals and some new chickens ate. Bags of workers used their new rods to catch. Workers gathered. Woodlock. As villagers leave the woods, one of them spots a small green gem. Workers at the smithy forge. Villagers weed. Some villagers really enjoyed their new as a complete coincidence. Passing travelers paid. As a complete visit village prayers seemed to be answered when. Bags of wheat. Some villagers drank far too much cider. Oracle tells you many things, but some workers washed dishes and sampled some. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sunshine, which villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers you have. You currently have. You have. Rumors suggest there are return to Dragon Village and start today. There are now 0 B A C the woods. There are currently there are now B. You have villagers, and you currently have village C B the river merchant C the river. You have villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work. You have villagers, and you currently have village B. There are currently workers out of the maximum of. There are currently workers out of the maximum of in the river merchant. You have gems and rubies. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Some folk put herbs in their cookies. Some put herbs in their pipes, and the plague stayed away. Some folks had mushroom soup. Others had mushrooms in their tea. Miraculously, nobody went mad. Today's weather was sunshine, which was good for crops. Workers used improved seeds to grow.
24
Workers used quick growing seeds to grow.
42
With the new millstone. Today's weather was sunshine. Some folks had mushrooms.
บางคนกินซุปเห็ดบางคนกินเห็ดในชาน่าอัศจรรย์มากที่ไม่มีใครโกรธเลย
Today's weather was sunshine.
อากาศวันนี้มีแสงแดดซึ่งมีดอกพืชผล
Some folk put herbs in their cookies. Some put herbs in their pipes. And the plague stayed away.
ชาวบ้านบางคนใส่สมุนไพรลงในคุกกี้บ้างก็ใส่สมุนไพรลงในท่อโรคระบาดก็หายไป
So work with the new millstone. Workers used
67
bags of grain and milk. Animals and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to catch. Workers gathered
12
nuts and woodlock as villagers leave the woods. One of them spots a small green gem. Workers at the smithy forge. Villagers weep. A couple of villagers got to as a complete coincidence. One passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid. Villagers opened their new prayers seemed to be answered. Some villagers drank oracle tells you many things, but none. Some villagers fetched water and chopped. Workers washed dishes. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the villagers feel safe from wolves. You currently have
165
you have
61
you have
285
you have
453
you have
227
you have 2 rubies. Rumors suggest there return to dragon. It is day.
65
Time to instruct your workers. Today is day.
65
Are you sure you wish to? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. The dragon devoured. Unlucky villagers today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers used improved seeds to grow.
22
Bags workers used quick growing seeds with the new millstone. Workers used animals and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to catch. Workers gathered. Nuts. Workers at the smithy forge. Villagers weep. Textiles. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. As a complete coincidence.
3
Passing travelers paid.
12
Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Of your workforce return with. Prayers were listened to by the gods, but the gods were a little busy. Some villagers drank far too much beer instead. Oracle tells you many things, but none. Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood. Workers swept the floors and checked the brandy was up to scratch for the king. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating. Villagers ate up.
160
Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be back. Villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have
168
villagers. You currently have
133
you have bags of you have
4,189
you have
209
you have
230
you have
7
gem you have
299
gold coins. You have rumors return to the dragon devoured. Repeat today. B A. The oracles A. There are now B. The river. B. C. The Weaver station. There are B. There are now B. There are currently C. There are C. The king's country residence. There are C. C. There are currently there are now D. There are currently workers here. The max. There are now E. The church. There are currently there are now D. The marketplace. There are currently there are E. There are currently there are now E. C. The wheat field. There are now E. F. There are F. C. There are now F. G. The road. There are currently there are now G. There are currently there are now F. The river. You have
168
villagers, and you currently have villagers doing some work. E. The river. F. There are now you have
168
villagers, and you currently have
155
village G. The witch's hut. There are currently there are now F. E. C. The D. C. The mill and E. D. There are currently there are now C. There are now C. There are currently workers out of a maximum of C. And you have
168
villagers, and you currently have
159
there are C. B. The river. C. The river. B. The river. There are currently workers out of a maximum of C. D. D. C. The mill D. The marketplace. There are currently D. There are currently there are now workers. You have
168
villagers, and you currently have
164
villagers D. C. The hills. D. E. F. There are now C. E. So are you sure you wish to? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was floods, which was impossible. Workers used improved seeds to grow.
33
Bags of grain in the wheat fields. Workers used quick growing seeds to grow.
37
Bags of grain in the barley field. Floods broke through the dike with the new millstone. Workers used animals and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to catch woodlock. While fishing, one lucky villager spotted a small red ruby on the river. Workers gathered.
60
Armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest, but no workers at the smithy forge.
60
New villagers weep.
C.
A couple of villagers got together in their new as a complete coincidence. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Gold for just easy. Food is taken east towards hungry. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered. Some villagers drank far too much cider. Sometime oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for making babies. Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for workers tended the garden and sampled some cakes. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented villagers ate up. Tomorrow's villagers feel safe from tomorrow's weather forecast is flood. Villagers feel safe. You currently have
138
villager. You have
0
bags of you have
250
you have rumors suggest there return to dragon. It is day. Time to there are currently you have
169
villagers, and you currently have
138
village E. The church E. There are currently C. There are now D. C. B. A. The hills. There are currently there are now C. B. C. You have
169
villagers, and you currently have
154
you have
169
villagers, and you currently D. D. C. The mill and bakery.
หมดแล้วอ่ะ
E. The river. E. The river. D. D. C. B. A. There are currently there are now B. C. E. G. There are currently there are now. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was floods, which was floods broke through the dike and have ruined today with the new millstone. Workers used
0
bags of grain, animals and some new chickens ate.
0
Bags of workers used their new rods to catch
72
fish on the river. Workers gathered
13
nuts and berries in the woods. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills, but no outlaws. Armed villagers pursued wolves into the fort. Workers at the smithy forge.
15
New metalware goods in their shine. Villagers weep. Textiles with some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. New babies. As a complete passing travelers paid. Gold visiting travelers paid a handsome. Prayers seemed to be answered when a small green gem found in it. Some villagers drank far too much cider. Sometimes take oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with one. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing barley. The king is sincerely grateful. Tomorrow's weather forecast is sun clouds. With villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from you have villagers. You currently have
164
you have rumors suggest there are return to today's weather was rumors return to today. You have gems and F. The river. E. C. The flooded fields. E. The river. D. The bridge to the south. C. The river. B. The river. A. The oracle's house. B. C. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was sun clouds, which was okay with the new millstone. Workers used animals and some new chicken. Workers used their new rods to catch. Workers gathered nuts and berries. Armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills. Armed villagers pursued wolves into the forest. But workers at the smithy forge.
60
New villagers weep. C. Textile. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. As a complete coincidence. Youth passing travelers paid. Gold visiting travelers paid a handsome. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers seemed to be answered when some villagers drank far too much cider. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for growing barley. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with one to do it. Workers did some laundry and sampled some cakes for quality control. For the king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the path prevented rats from eating any food or grain. Villagers ate up.
168
Food is tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have
167
villagers. You currently have
164
villagers. You have gems. You have
280
goods to sell. You have
343
gold coin. You have
3,891
you have
3
rumors suggest there are around. Rumors suggest there are return to Dragon Village. It is D. C. The mill and bakery. E. C. The wheat fields. F. C. C. There are currently there are now workers. There are currently workers. You have
167
villagers, and you currently have
164
villagers doing some work. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. The dragon devoured. Unlucky villager today's weather was floods, which was impossible. Floods were held by the Dragon workers have saved today's crop up with the new millstone. Workers used. Soon. Animals and new chickens. Workers used their new rods. Workers gathered. 12. Nuts and armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills. No outlaws. Armed villagers. Workers at the smithy forge. 12. New metalware goods in their villagers weaved. 3. Textiles. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double beds and made. New as passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Of your workforce return with. Grateful presents from. Prayers were listened to by the gods, but the gods were. Some villagers drank far too much. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for cats. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with wanted. Workers did some laundry and sampled some cakes for quality control for the king.
ว่า6 คนก็ไม่ได้เสียหายอะไรเลยเพราะว่ามัน
The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating. Villagers ate up.
196
Food to tomorrow's weather forecast is floods, which will be a villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from you have. Rumors suggest there return to Dragon Village today. C the woods. G the road to the E. There are currently workers here. There are G F. There are currently there are now C B A. There are currently work. There are now B C D F G. There are now F E D C A. The road to the west. B A B C the west. There are B. There are currently. There are now C there are. There are now C workers D the D. There are currently workers here. The maximum of this location is C. There are still D there are currently. There are now E the church. There are currently. There are now D there are currently. There are now E there are currently. There are now E D B there are currently. There are now C D E there are now D the dragon D E the river. E C the wheat fields. There are currently workers here. There are F there are currently. There are now E there are currently. There are E F there are currently. Sorry, there are only workers. There are currently workers here. There are still E C there are currently workers here. There are now work main menu. Play the game. E today. D C there are currently work. There are now C there are currently work. There are now C workers here. D E C you have 119 villagers and you currently have 112. There are currently workers out E C the wheat E F there are currently sorry there are only there are currently workers here. The maximum there are still E there are currently work. There are now E F there are currently There are you sure? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was floods, which was a possible disaster for crop. Workers used improved seeds to grow. Bags of grain in the workers used quick growing seeds to grow. That floods were held by the Dragon work with the new millstone. Workers used bags of grain and made. Animals and some new chickens ate. Bags of workers used their new rods to catch. Fish tragically. One careless fisherman fell in the river and drowned. What luck? While fishing, one lucky villager spotted a small red ruby on the rip. Workers gathered. Nuts and armed villagers pursued outlaws into the hills. Armed villagers pursued workers at the smithy forge. New villagers weaved. A couple of villagers got together in their new double bed to make a bait. As a complete coincidence, one young villager came up. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hand. Food is taken east towards Hungry Village 5. Of your villagers opened their new prayer books with moving prayers seemed to be up. Some villagers drank far too. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be next. Some villagers drank many cups. Workers did some laundry and sampled. The king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will you currently have. You have. Rumors suggest there are around. Rumors suggest return to Dragon Village today. The church. D the marketplace. C the king's there are currently workers out of the max. There are currently there are now. Are you sure? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Workers used improved seeds to grow. Workers used quick growing seeds to grow with the new millstone. Workers used and workers what luck while fishing, one lucky villager spots a small red ruby on the rip. What luck as villagers leave the woods. One of them spots a small green. Armed villagers pursued out workers at the smith. Some as a pet. Village players. Some worker begin. Villagers feel you have. Villagers feel safe. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which will be built. You have rubies. You have stone block. Rumors suggest return to Dragon Village today. You have villagers and you currently have C the rip. C there are currently workers. There are now. Are you sure? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was drought, which was bad. Workers used improved. Workers used with the new millstone. Workers used and armed workers built some villagers as a complete coincidence. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hands. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayers. Some oracle tells you tomorrow will be next. Some villagers drank many cups of tea. Workers swept the floors and sampled some cakes for the king is sincerely great. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is rain, which will villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe. You have villagers. You currently have villagers. You have bags of grain. You have gold coins. You have gold. You have gems. You have ruby. You have stone. You have rumors suggest there are around. Rumors suggest there return to today's weather was drought. Return today. Time to instruct your workers. You are at location C the river. Today's weather forecast is rain. D the bridge to the south. C the wheat fields. F there are now D there are currently there are E F there are currently there are now E there are currently C workers here. There are now you have villagers and you currently have villagers doing some work. You have villagers and you currently have there are now E F there are now are you sure? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. The dragon devoured. Unlucky villagers today. Today's weather was rain, which was dodgy for crop. Workers used improved seeds to grow. Workers used quick growing seeds to grow with the new millstone. Workers used bags of animals and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to catch. What luck while fishing, one lucky villager spots workers. Armed villagers pursued outlaw. Armed villagers pursued workers at the smithy forge. Villagers weaved. Some villagers really enjoyed their new as a complete coincidence. Passing travelers paid. Gold for as a complete coincidence. Youths as a pet. This of your workforce return with grateful present prayers. Some village oracle tells you some villagers drank many. Workers tended the garden. The king is sincere. Dignity the cat. Villagers ate. Tomorrow's villagers. You have. You currently you have. Rumors return to the dragon. It is G. The road to the east. There are now F the barley fields. E C D the milk C the farmhouse. B C the wheat. There are B there are now B there are still C workers here. B the watch. B C there are currently there are C there are currently there are now D there are E there are now C workers here. E the village store. There are now D there are now D there are currently there are now C there are now C there are currently there are now B A the oracle's house. A C there are currently there are now A there are now B D E F G there are currently there are now F E D C the mill and bakery. E C the wheat F there are currently there are now E C there are currently there are now E F there are now you have villagers and you currently have villagers doing some work. There are currently there are now E there are now E F there are now E C the wheat you have villagers and you currently have E F there are now 0 work. E D C B there are now 0 C D E there are sorry there are you have there are currently workers here. The maximum of sorry there are only workers there are currently there are you sure you please press Y or N for yes or no. Some folk put herbs in their cookies. Some put herbs in their some today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers used improved seeds to grow.
38
Workers used quick growing seeds to grow. Back with the new millstone. Animals and some new chickens ate.
0
Workers used their new rods to catch. Workers gathered. Nuts and berries. Armed villagers pursued wolves into workers at the smithy fort. Villagers weaved.
C
Textiles. Some villagers really enjoyed their new double as a complete coincidence.
2
Youth. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a handsome.
Easy.
Food is taken eastward. Villagers opened their new prayer books with prayers seemed to be answered. Some villagers drank far. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for selling goods on the market. Some villagers drank many cups of tea with. Workers did some laundry and checked the brandy with the king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is some clouds. Villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have.
187
Villager. You currently have.
185
You have.
15
Bags. You have.
3,600
You have.
410
You have. Rubies. You have. Rumors suggest. Return to draft. Some folk return to today. Time to instruct your workers. There are now. Are you sure you? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was some clouds. Workers used improved seeds to grow. Workers used quick growing seeds to grow. With the new millstone. Workers used. Animals and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to catch. Workers gathered. Nuts and berries. Armed villagers pursued wolves into workers at the smithy fort. Villagers weaved. A couple of villagers got together as a complete coincidence. One young villager came up. Passing travelers paid. Visiting travelers paid a hand. Prayer seemed to be answered when a small green gem. Some villagers drank far too much beer. Oracle tells you tomorrow. Some villagers drank. Workers did some laundry and the king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather for villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from you have.
188
You currently have.
187
You have. Bags of grain. You have.
3,862
Available. You have.
465
Gold coins. You have.
335
Goods to sell. You have.
10
Gems. You have. You have.
8
You have.
6
Gems. You have. Rumors suggest there are. Rumors suggest there are. Return to dragon. The river. The bridge to the south. C. The river. B. The river. C. D. E. F. The river. G. The witches. F. E. The river. D. The bridge. C. The river. You have.
188
Villagers. And you currently have.
187
Villagers doing. Are you sure you wish? Okay. Events this day in Dragon Village. Today's weather was some clouds, which was okay. Workers used improved seeds to grow.
38
Bags of workers used quick with the new millstone. Workers used.
78
Bags. Animals and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to catch.
48
Workers gathered.
12
Wedlock. As villagers leave the woods, one of them spots a small green gem. Armed villagers pursued wolves into workers at the smithy forge. Villagers weaved.
C
Some villagers really enjoyed their new as a complete coincidence. Passing travelers paid. Gold for. Visiting travelers paid a handsome. Villagers opened their new prayer books with new vigor. Prayer seemed to be answered when. Some villagers drank far too much cider. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent. Some villagers fetched water and chopped wood for Wanda. Oracle tells you tomorrow will be an excellent day for making babies. Some worker the king is sincerely grateful. Dignity the cat prevented rats from eating. Villagers ate up. Tomorrow's weather forecast is drought, which villagers feel safe from outlaws. Villagers feel safe from wolves. You have. Villagers. You currently have.
187
You have. Bags of grain. You have. Available food. You have.
498
You have.
394
Goods. You have. Gems. You have. You have.
366
You have.
498
You have. Rumors suggest there are. Rumors suggest return to dragon. It is C. The river. C. B. The river. A. The oracle's B. C. D. E. The river. F. The river merchant. Merchandise return. Ring of charm. C. Staff of comic. Special event. You hand over. C. Green gems to the river merchant.
เกิดอะไรขึ้นวะ
He pockets. Gems and gives the other. To his master craftsman. One then nervously hands over her enchanted staff. Everybody watches as the craftsman cuts a ring off. Sockets in the staff. The gems are seated neatly into the sockets. You feel a wave of relief as the work is completed. You have just upgraded one staff to the fabled staff of coming. Press any key to continue.
อย่างนี้เหรอ
Merchandise for sale. Staff of coming. Merchant press you have youth. Every one of the you hand special event. Staff of coming. Ring of charm. Staff special you hand over. See green gems to the river merchant. He pockets. Gems and
เขาเก็บอัญมณี3เม็ดและมอบอีก7เม็ดให้กับช่างฝีมือระดับปรมาจารย์ของเขา
staff of merchant press you feel a wave of relief. Gem everybody watches as the craftsman one then nervously hands over her enchanted pockets. Gems and one then nervously.
แหวนน้ำมอบหมายทางวิเศษของเธออย่างประมาทเขาเก็บ
Staff of merchant press you feel a wave of relief. Gems are seated neatly into the so everybody watches as the craftsman cuts a ring one then nervously hands over her enchanted staff. He pockets. Gems and you hand he pocket one then everybody watches as the craft.
ทุกคนเฝ้าดูขณะที่ช่างฝีมือกำลังตกแหวนเบา7อันในตัวไม้เท้าแหวนเขาเก็บ
Staff of merchant press you feel gems are seated neatly into the everybody watches as the craftsman cuts a ring off. Sockets one then everybody gems.
เพชรทั้ง7ฟันอยู่ในรูทำ7อย่างเรียบร้อยทุกคนแหวนเขาเก็บ
Staff merchant press you have just upgraded one you feel a wave of relief as the work is completed. Gems are seated neatly into the so everybody you feel a wave of
คุณรู้สึกโล่งใจเมื่องานเสร็จสิ้นเพชรทั้งทุกแหวนเขาเก็บอัญมณี
staff of coming. Merchandise for sale. Press any key to continue. You have just upgraded one staff to the fabled staff.
คุณต้องอัปเกรดไม้เท้าของแวนดาให้เป็นไม้เท้าแห่งความสงบในตำนาน
โอเค
Ring of charm. Seek red staff of coming. Seek green key today.
77
Time to instruct your workers. You are at location F. The river merchant. You have
4,010
available food. And you have
0
bags of grain. You have today is day
77
of your leadership in Dragon Village. E. The river. You have gems and rubies. There are currently workers out. D. B. You have C. The farm. D. The mill and bakery. There are currently E. There are currently workers out. There are currently there are now workers here. E. F. There are now you have villagers and you currently have
189
villagers doing some work. E.
3
Are you sure you? Okay. Special event. The village coffers have now swelled to over
500
gold coins. And you reckon it is time to offer the green dragon a handsome bride.
เพราะว่าสุดท้ายผมก็ทำได้
You march north to the dragon with some trusty village folk on seeing the gold. There's more in mobs looting at the gold, but crashing into the only green dragon tales of present events this day in Dragon Village. You upgraded one design.
ไปกองไว้ตรงมังกรบ้างแล้วมังกรก็บินไปแล้วทองก็ล่วงลงน้ำ
The dragon devoured. Unlucky villagers today causing workers to run around in panic. So check your buildings. You upgraded one disenchanted staff to the fabled staff of coming. The dragon devoured.
วันนี้มันวันปืนกินชาวบ้านที่โชคร้าย6
Today's weather was drought, which was bad for crops. Workers used quick with the new millstone. Workers, animals, and some new chickens ate. Workers used their new rods to workers gathered. Wedlock. Armed villagers pursued wolves. Wedlock. As villagers leave the woods, one of them spots a small green wedlock. Work village. Some village as a passive visit. Village prayer. Some oracle. Work the king. Dignity. Village. But village. You have. You current. You have. Soon. Back. You have. Rumors suggest return to. You upgraded. Return to today. Time to instruct your workers. You are at location. The village store. Today's weather forecast is rain. Special event. Early in the morning of day, a fancy coach arrives bearing the king himself. The whole village turns out to marvel and to listen. You have done well, my subjects. The king announces. Your missions are complete and your struggles are over. And thank Kyle for the nice little house. I bring you gold and I bring you food. Let's party. And on the king's orders. The king's own cavalry lay out a feast to remember. Press any key to continue. You have successfully completed the game on day. But you can continue just for fun if you like. Please type Y or N. Okay, let's continue. You have
4,207
available food. And you have
0
you have
210
gold coins. And you have
355
goods to sell.
ให้มาแค่200
It is hard to put a figure on how much of the king's favor you have gained. But Brian said it is around.
1,029
Everyone else reckons the king has true admiration for you.
1,029โอ้ได้
ใครๆก็มองว่าในหลวงทรงชื่นชมพระองค์อย่างแท้จริง
It is hard to put.
เนี่ย
คนอื่นคิดว่าคุณได้รับความรักของพระผู้เทพ
It is hard to put a figure on how much of the gods respect you have earned, but Brian says it is around
1,116
Everyone else reckons you have E.
5
The river merchant D. The bridge to C. The B. The river. You have
2
gems and rubies. A. The oracle's house.
เอ้ยจบ
Do you really want to leave? Press Y to exit or N to resume the program. Please press Y or N. Please press Y or N. Please press Y or N. Okay, main menu. Play, save your game and exit the program. Do you really want to leave? Press Y to exit or N to resume the program. Thank Kyle for visiting Maki's Dragon Village. If you have enjoyed this game,
โอ
please.
เค
Ops.
320
แล้ว
Ops.
32
Stop recording button focus.